Yo, what is going down, y'all? Welcome in the most underrated podcast, man. Homie Dow Palantonio sitting across from me as always, broadcasting from Certified Tattoo Studio over here in the Glass House. The homie JJ isn't here today, man. He had a dentist appointment, and we kind of contemplated bumping the podcast to the next day because huge sports day here in Denver with the Rockies trying to wrap up the NL, the game 163, the one-game tiebreaker. I was going to say one-game playoff, but it's not a playoff. It's a tiebreaker.
Right.
And then, obviously, Monday Night Football tonight, Broncos, Chiefs. I don't want to get too crazy with them because by the time you hear this podcast, they're going to be over, but we will talk a little bit about that. You and I kicked it a long time yesterday. I mean, you were at my house watching games all day yesterday. We were shooting sneaker reviews, so we got some reviews coming. We got some sneakers in. So everybody that's bugging me on the sneaker reviews and the vlogs and all that stuff, we got some shoes coming. There'll be videos coming, be reviews dropping. But, yeah, man, we kicked it yesterday. I thought you were personally going to go down to New Orleans and kill Drew Brees by himself or take his family hostage or do some crazy stuff. You were getting heated.
Yeah, there were several times, man. I had to go to the bathroom and just, talk to myself down and say, hey, man, everything's going to be okay, man. Every week, you're going to have a quarterback that's going to have a shitter week.
Yep.
And Breeze is actually known for having a couple shitter weeks in the season, but the rest, he's going to be goddamn over 20 points easy.
Anybody, right? You're going to have 2 or 3 bad ones throughout the year. Breeze is no exception.
Right,
he's going to have those. I saw that again with week 1. I told you guys about that. Matt Ryan scored 9 points. I was very, very disappointed in the opener Thursday night against Philly. And then
and you flew off the handle and made moves.
Flew off the handle. I started making moves. I put in Tyrod Taylor the next week.
Totally.
Matt Ryan's going off for 50. I'm getting burned.
God.
So
yeah.
I told you don't react. Oh, don't overreact. And you're like, no, I think I'm done starting Breeze the whole year. I'm never starting Breeze again the rest of the year. I'm like, whoa. Take it easy. You got who do you even have on the bench?
It was the worst. So I do have Mahomes on one side. I have Bortles in another league. And then I have Rivers and just some very kind of middle of the pack guys.
Hindsight's always 20/20. It's always
Correct.
so easy to look at your team and be like, oh man, I could have won this matchup this week if I would have benched Breeze and put in Bortles, or if I would have benched Breeze and put in Mahomes. Right. But let's be real. You're not benching Breeze.
You can't.
You're not going to, you know what I mean? It's easy to say after the fact. Just like it's easy for me. I thought last Thursday night was going to be a tough, grinded out game. Thursday nights are not normally known for being these big-time shootout type games.
Wasn't expecting that.
I said it was going to be a low-scoring game. I figured both defenses would come to play. It was a shootout. I was wrong. Hindsight's 20/20. Everybody can be right the next day. It's not really, you know what I mean? It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Same thing with fantasy. It's you set your lineup, you go back the next day, you look, oh man, if I would have done this kicker instead, if I would have done this tight end instead,
totally.
if I, woulda, coulda, shoulda all day. But nonetheless,
that's just what
you
it
had
is.
Breeze. You went heavy on Breeze, and
I did, and there was kind of reasoning behind that because number one, he's Breeze, right?
Right.
Look what he's done the last 3 games. More importantly, though, I thought this was huge. The one thing I didn't look at that you reminded me of was we're not in a dome. We're exposed.
Yep.
We're not in a dome,
Yep.
and that's just notorious Breeze. No dome. We're just not going to play as well, as the Saints. But it was mostly the Breeze this time. The Saints played well, especially Kamara. But
Kamara.
my big thing, we'll get into Kamara. My big thing with Breeze, though, that I overlooked the dome thing, but my big thing was he was going for the all-time passing yards. He was going for that record and possibly could have got that record had he threw for another... God, I think he needed another 200 yards, which could have been easily doable, and maybe the dome would have helped out with that. So I just kind of went heavy because I thought, dude, Sean Payton's going to have his back. We're going to get that. We're going to break that record this game. We're going to be good. Everything's going to be tight. We're going to be right. We're looking good. Yeah, shit the bed.
And not only did you have Breeze in regular fantasy, but you went heavy with him in daily fantasy.
I did.
So that's kind of what I was alluding to there. That's why you were really, really heated, because not only was he screwing up your daily or your season-long, season-long fantasy lineups, but he's also screwing up your daily with DraftKings. Speaking of DraftKings, your boy finally took it down. I'm not here to brag. I'm not bragging. I'm just describing. You know what I'm saying? I took first this week, barely. I thought Landon was going to take me down. The homie Landog took second. I won 183 to 180. Basically, he had 180.58. So I barely won by 2.5 points there. Was able to take down first place in the most underrated podcast, Draftkings tourney that we do every single week. Click the link in the YouTube description if you want to get involved, if you want to join. It's a lot of fun, man. And I think this is only going to continue to grow as the podcast grows, as we start promoting it during the vlog and sneaker reviews and all that stuff. But a lot of fun. Dallas, you were down in the basement, as the homie Mueller said.
the whole time it felt like
the whole day you were down in the basement. And you know what Mueller texted me too? He said, it's been a fun one today. Dallas down in the basement again with the laughing faces. And so I kind of sent him back some laughing emojis. And I said, I was like, I think he might go to New Orleans and kill Brees. Like, this fool's heated over here. And then
what'd he say back?
He said, tell him to snag some humidity dunks while he's down there in the basement.
Dang. Shout outs to the mule.
By the way, those humidity dunks are at 208 and dropping in my size. Just to let you guys know. I'm gonna continue to update that every single podcast, because I told you I'm gonna wait until they get down to like 150 before I cop, because I know these have no resale value. I know all you fools that bought all these pairs that don't know what to do with them are you're not gonna lose money, because the shoe was $110. I mean, it's not gonna go that low, but people are starting to freak out a little bit. Prices continue to drop. They went from I think at the high point they were around $350. Right before the release, and now they've continued to drop and drop and drop and drop. And I think they'll continue to go down to about 150. So I'm going to continue to wait on those.
Here's what I'd say if I were you. You know what you should wait on? Yeah, wait on those. Wait on the special edition trumpet case for those joints. Those are still high.
I've been looking every day on StockX. There's been no size 12. There's been not one size 12. Damn. I told Chris Roberts the other day, he wears a 10. I was like, bro, they have a 10 for $345 with the special case on there. You should fucking buy that right now. And he bullshitted around.
That'd be my size too.
I know. Same thing. I thought you said you didn't want them. So I
don't really want them, but I want that shit. I want that case.
Right.
Like, I'm just about those details. I don't really like the shoe. We have already discussed that, but that fucking case is solid, bro.
Yeah. Super dope packaging.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've talked a lot about the humidity dunks. I'm still waiting on them, but they are still dropping. Snag a pair if you're down in the basement there, Dallas.
Well, hey, to get back out of the basement, I didn't land in the basement. I ended up taking 11th.
Let me see.
So I didn't fall to the basement. I didn't stay in the basement, dog. That's the good news.
I ended up taking 11th out of 13. Yeah.
That's still the basement.
Gonzo was in the basement this week.
Oh,
Matt
Gonzo.
Gonzalez. I believe Matt Gonzo 11. He was in the basement this week with a grand total of 85. I scored 183. I almost scored 100 more than my guy. Who did he have? What are you doing there?
Let's take a look
He
here.
must have had empty spots on his roster.
Hey, at least his quarterback did 22 and a half.
Yeah, no shit.
Breeze did 8.58.
No shit.
God damn.
Yeah, what a day, man. If you had Deshaun Watson in your lineups, you had Alvin Kamara in your lineups, you had
Mitch Trubisky,
dog. Who had Trubisky though? I don't think anyone
TDs.
in this thing.
I don't think anybody in our league had him.
Trubisky, nobody had Trubisky. The other really good value play, actually, the dude that took second, Landon, he had Andy Dalton. I think that was a pretty good value play. He put up 28.
Dalton was good. Calvin Ridley had another 2 TDs this week. I was surprised. I picked him up off a waiver, but I didn't play him because I didn't think he was going to have another decent game, and sure as shit he did.
Yep. Overall fantasy weekend for you, how did it go? What did you do in your personal leagues? Did you win?
Pretty much shit the bed. I've got Breeze 5 out of 6 leagues.
So you're toast, huh?
So I went 0 and 6. 0 and 6, I should say. Okay, sorry.
No. Let me tell you something I downloaded last night, and I don't know how I feel about it just yet. But this app called WinView. Have you seen this?
I downloaded a similar one. Talk about that one. I'll talk about it, the one I downloaded.
WinView is an app. It's kind of honestly, it reminds me of almost like trivia at Buffalo Wild Wings or Old Chicago. If you ever gone and done trivia, but it's based off the game that you're playing in, and it just shoots questions at you. So let's say like last night, for example, right? You're watching the Ravens Steelers game.
Sure.
Sunday Night Football. It'll let's say the Ravens punt it away to the Steelers. Now it goes to commercial. It'll fire up like 2 or 3 or 4 questions. It'll say, is Pittsburgh going to score on this next drive? Will they gain 5 yards on the next play? On the first play, coming out of commercial, will they have 15 or more rushing yards? Will Roethlisberger complete a pass of more than 15 yards on this drive in this quarter? That type of shit. And basically, you're putting money into your account, like betting, like real money.
That's fire.
And you're betting on the outcome of each of these plays. And you can bet anywhere from basically what's happening is you're not betting your money per se on each play, but you join a room. You're in a room, and the room, let's say, is called third quarter. So it's the third quarter of the Ravens Steelers game.
Okay.
You're in that room, and you now have to beat out the other people that are in that room. It's like you're in a tournament. So like, you can think about Draftkings. You have all your people on Draftkings. You have all the people in the tournament. So let's say there's 15 people. You're playing against those 15 people. So you all start with 5,000 points. You can wager 250, 500, or 750 points per question.
Okay.
But they do have odds. So like if it's more of a long shot odd, if yes is more of a long shot, you'll get maybe 300 or 3 times. It's like 1 to 3. You know what I mean? Or 3 to 1. I'm sorry, odds. Cool. So instead of winning $750, you're winning $22.50 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so basically you can wager based off of, or the percentages and the odds based off of yes or no, and the questions, the scenarios in the game, all that stuff. And then you win money based on where you finish. If you finish in the top 3 of your group in that room, you'll win money based off of, you know, the entry fee's $5. First place wins $250. Second place wins $50 or whatever it may be.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It was, honestly, it's something that that was the first time I ever done anything like that. It kind of reminded me of being in Vegas and doing live betting. I don't know if you've ever done that, where you're watching the game and you're betting live on each play. Totally. Is the next play going to be a run? Is the next play going to be a pass? Kind of stuff. So yeah, it was super cool. But honestly, it's like, it's distracting. You know what I mean? It almost takes away, like, not necessarily your experience in watching the game, because you're still watching the game, but you can't get up and take a piss during commercials. You can't like grab food, because commercials are when they're firing off the next set of questions. So you want to be, so you're like continually busy throughout the game, and then you're rooting for these scenarios. Will Joe Flacco complete 3 or more passes on this next drive? You select no, and now you're oh shit, you're hoping against Joe Flacco to not complete 3 passes or whatever, So it's kind of a crazy app. It's called WinView. If you guys want to check it out, I have no affiliation to them. It's just something I downloaded last night. I had a friend that was on it, and he's like, "Yo, you might like this. Check it out."
No wonder why I couldn't get a text back last night.
Yeah, right, bro. Get out of here. What's the app? Is this similar to what you were talking about?
No, actually, that's totally different, man. I thought you were going to talk about an app that has, like, betting lines, spreads, that kind of stuff. So I started looking to see, just to help me, because, again, I'm kind of newer than, obviously, you in comparison into spreads, gambling, looking at what lines look like, who's hot, historical facts, that kind of stuff, and then, not using your heart.
Yeah.
Using more of logic and history. So I downloaded this one called BetQL. And it helped me out quite a bit yesterday, just kind of studying lines, studying spreads, seeing who's rated higher. And it also kind of gives you a breakdown of the game, just a small breakdown, just things to look at. So, for those...
Oh, it tells you about trends and stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Does it talk, like, do you have other people from the community posting shit in there on what they think? Or
I haven't even got that far yet, but literally you have
What's it called?
BetQL.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have your home where you can kind of set up yours, but you have spreads, money lines, totals, first half spreads, first half money lines, second half spreads. Like, just if you're new into the spreads, trying to understand spreads, that's why I downloaded it, just trying to understand, just trying to decipher, just trying to see what these things look like, visually on paper, because obviously we don't have these sheets necessarily like they do at Vegas, but just kind of help me kind of understand kind of what's going on. And I don't see any social media version of it yet, but so again, new for me, but if you're into lines, studying money lines, spreads, that kind of thing, download that.
Sounds kind of like on this app, Onside Sports, that I used to be on heavy, and you kind of just bet stars. You can, like, 5 stars per game.
Okay.
That's the most you can bet, 1 star to 5 stars, how confident you are. And then you rack up stars, and you kind of compete against other people on the app based off betting, but there's no real money involved. It's just stars, and it's just kind of bragging rights, and you can follow other people, follow their picks, see people that are going on heaters.
So that's like the social kind of aspect of it. Cool.
Yep. There is some of the ability to talk and back and forth and give your guys kind of a back and forth and stuff like that. But overall, I mean, that was something we didn't even talk about before the show. I just thought about it because I was playing with that app last night at the end of the game. Thought it was something pretty cool. Let's jump into, we talked about a big sports weekend for here in Denver, man. Let's kind of jump into that a little bit. Rockies wrapping up. I went Saturday night. Unfortunately, they got beat Saturday night. If they would have won Saturday night and Sunday, it would have been big. You were there Friday night, and it was freezing.
Night. And that was a blowout as well. So
but on the
our
Rockies
side. Yeah, on our side, which was really, really cool. They had the fireworks, customer appreciation night. And that was actually when they at least clinched a playoff right spot. So whether it's wild card or, again, what we're playing for today, number one in the division. But, yeah, very cool to be there, man.
I think so. What's going down tonight is, or what's going on today, they play a game at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to be 2:10, somewhere in there. Yeah. It's out in L.A. They had to fly to L.A. We got German Marquez on the mound. That's what I think evens us out. Marquez is 2-0 against the Dodgers this year so far. He's really, really been our bright spot, especially against the Dodgers. I say our because obviously we're here in Denver. We're big Rockies fans. We support the local squads around here. Denver, being the Broncos, the Rockies, Avalanche, Nuggets, those are my squads. I don't know who you have. Obviously, I'm a Michigan fan for college football.
Right.
I have family ties there, but you, are you just all Denver all the time? Except I know you're KU.
KU on the basketball side, right? Because they're trash with football, but KU on the basketball side. But aside from that, man, yeah, I side with the teams where I live and where I'm from. I came from Kansas, so I had the choice between Broncos or Kansas City because literally driving wise and time wise, really the same way, just opposite way directions. So, of course, I chose the Broncos. I mean, I love Arrowhead Stadium. It's a great venue to go see a game, but, I'm a Broncos guy. Now, when we're talking money and betting and things of that nature, for example, this year I've kind of been Chiefs heavy with a lot of our discussions, and that's just because I have a lot of them. I have a lot of investment in the Chiefs for my fantasy leagues, for my Draftkings, for betting spreads. As a matter of fact, the last 3 weeks in a row, when we've done our spreads, you and I've taken the Chiefs the last 3 weeks and continued into week 4, and they've kind of been my diamond.
Speaking of spreads, I went 1-1-1 this week, and I had 1 win, 1 loss, and then 1 push.
See, I don't have mine's not completed.
You're not completed. You're 1-1 right now, right?
You got it.
So you're 1-1, trying to go 2-1. You got the Chiefs minus 4.5 tonight.
Yeah.
Is that the current line still? Have you looked at the line yet lately?
I haven't looked.
Here, I'll look it up for you. What are you still feeling good about that pick? Are you has anything changed for you?
Minus
4.5.
3.
4.5 is what you got it at on Thursday last week.
Yeah, I think the spread's changed to minus 3.5.
Oh, it went down, huh?
Yeah, so it went down a little bit, but now I'm still feeling pretty confident with that.
I think it opened at 5 or 5.5, and now it's down to 3.5.
Yeah.
Wow, what a swing!
Yeah, for sure.
I've seen that as well. Yep, there it is. Broncos plus 3.5, Chiefs minus 3.5.
You got it.
If you're trying to bet that tonight, I would not touch that game with a 10-foot pole at that spread. At 5.5. I might be looking at Denver just because divisional game. You have a home team getting that many points.
Yeah.
I don't think Denver. I could easily see Denver getting blown out, and that might just be me as being a pessimistic Broncos fan, just not feeling like we have what it takes to match up with them. Mm-hmm. But let's look at it realistically. We do have a great defense. They have a great offense.
Great
defense
pass rush.
Traditionally beats offense. You know what I mean? Here's the thing.
That's how we won the Super Bowl.
I don't think we're a great defense. I think we're a good defense. I think our secondary, losing Aqib Talib, Tremaine Brock being banged up, Bradley Roby being thrust into action. I don't think they're looking as good or as sharp as anyone thought they would. Totally. Chris Harris, he's been getting beat on some little stuff that he normally isn't getting beat on, and I'm not sure if that's the result of the pass rush not getting there, him losing a step. He actually came out and told the coaching staff this week, we're not doing a good enough job on defense here. He told the coaches, you guys aren't doing a good enough job calling plays. You guys need to disguise coverages better. We're getting lit up out here. Everyone knows what we're doing. We're making it easy for the quarterback. He steps up to the line. He can read the defense. He can see exactly, oh shit, it's cover 2. I got single high safety over the top. He knows exactly where he's going to go with the ball. We're not doing anything to disguise these. And he came out and he was very vocal about that with the coaching staff this week.
So I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I was pumped about that because I've said that. I don't feel like we have enough. Aqib Talib said they got rid of all the dogs on defense earlier this offseason for the Broncos. And I agree with him. We don't have any dogs over there. We don't have any pit bulls. We don't have anyone that wants to smoke. We don't have anyone that wants to fight. You need some killers out there. You need some hitters. You need some people that are going to make people pay going over the middle. Not saying commit penalties, but you need to impose some physicality. You know what I mean? And they're not threatening right now.
Doesn't seem very physical, especially on the backfield, the secondary aspect.
Right.
I totally agree.
Nothing scares you. And if they're protecting the quarterback like they are now, does Von Miller even scare you? Does anyone, you know what I mean? Does that D-line even scare you at the end of the day? So
Bradley Chubb,
it makes me nervous. Pat Mahomes is going to be a nightmare to contain tonight.
And that's what I'm banking on. This is tough for me because obviously I took them in my spreads. I also made some side bets on other platforms. So, I did go Kansas City heavy, and that's just speaking for money. But, if you use your heart too much, especially when you're gambling, I think you're setting yourself up for some losses.
That's why I stay away from most Bronco games, man. I don't really bet on my teams or for my teams. Because I get too...
bet against them.
Yeah, exactly. Because then you get into a situation where if you bet against your team, you're still cheering for your team, but on the back end, you're like, fuck, I'm going to lose money if my team wins.
Yeah.
But then you win money if your team loses, so it can kind of make you feel a little bit better.
There's a lot of things invested in this game that says do not make bets. I mean, you're playing in Denver, right?
Especially the way the spread's moved.
Yeah, the spread has moved. We're playing at home at Denver. You have some of our greatest defensive players coming out and saying, hey, we got a problem here. It's also a primetime game, and you never know how those are going to be. Like you said, the history usually says that they're kind of lower scoring, bang, 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 bang up defense games. There's just a lot of things that say you should not bet on these, but and division rivals, like the biggest rivals, in the division.
Any divisional game, you never know which way it could go. Look at yesterday. I thought Miami was going to play the Patriots tough yesterday, and they ended up just getting wiped, bro. I mean, I realized they were going into Foxborough, but that's a divisional matchup. They usually always play the Patriots tough.
Yeah,
it's always within about a 5-point spread, 5 points either way, the winner.
But you knew the Patriots were going to come back after those two losses. Right? Like you knew they were going to have a bounce back game, and you knew that they were going to come in just smelly, just smelly, dog. You knew it. But I don't know. Josh Gordon made his first appearance. He had two catches for 30-ish yards, 35 I think is what it was. So not a huge point that he made, but he got a hell of a.
It's nice to see him back in there, working his way into an offense, being utilized, and hopefully he can keep his nose clean. You know what I mean? I'm never a proponent of dogpiling on somebody when they're down. The guy's obviously had a ton of problems. It's not my job to sit here and talk shit and pile on. It's I'm more of a positive guy. I like to see guys come back from things, battle adversity, find themselves, and he's on his own little journey here.
And just a fan of NFL. He makes it better.
Makes the game better,
he makes the league better, and hopefully he can stay out of trouble, man.
For sure. Some headlines from the weekend, man. Let's just kind of jump into some headlines. I think we got some sports-related stuff. We got some music-related stuff. Normally we do underrated news with JJ. Obviously, he's not here today, so we're going to go ahead and skip that. And you and I will just talk about some headlines. Number one being the Earl Thomas thing for me.
Yeah.
We talked about that. The middle finger, it's unclear if he flipped off his sideline or if he flipped off a specific person or
coaching
staff. It was just to the organization, everyone. But there was definitely the bird that went down. He's getting carted off the field. If you watch any kind of sports center, any sports show, you've probably seen this. If you're on Twitter, you've probably seen this. He's getting carted off, has an air cast on his leg.
Yep.
What is it? His left leg, I believe?
His left leg, yeah.
Yep, he's got an air cast on and being carted off. What's the injury? Do you know what the injury is?
So they're calling it a lower leg fracture, and that was per Pete Carroll as a source.
Okay.
So I don't think they know anything more. Obviously, today you'll have some more come out, but a lower leg fracture is what they're calling it.
Okay. And then what it speculates, we'll probably find out within the next few days.
Yeah.
They're probably going to talk to Earl, or Pete Carroll said, his quote was, "It's a big stadium."
Yeah.
I don't know. Like who was that directed to? Blah 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 blah. All this stuff. It's a big stadium. Yeah, that's all he said.
The Seahawks did The Seahawks did a great job deflecting that. Let's just be real. From what it was then and to what it is today, hey, they did a great job deflecting it. I thought. I will tell you this: as this happened, and now it leads us up to now Monday morning is when this is airing. There's been a few other NFL players that have kind of came up to his defense, and said, "Hey, we definitely understand kind of what's going on." And some of those people that have come up was Le'Veon Bell, who says, "Hey, man, sorry about the loss, whatever." But he says, "Hey, I'll continue to be the bad guy for us."
I saw that just come out
for this whole standout and that kind of thing, and. So I found that to be interesting. Who else did you see coming out? Anybody else that kind of some of his old teammates? Richard Sherman came out
supporting him.
Yeah, and supporting him.
That.
But a lot of this comes from a lot of NFL stars kind of understand why he did it, if he did, and who he did it to. But hey, these NFL players give a lot of heart and soul to this game, and they're just dedicated and they're rock stars. Look at LeBron James. Look at his diet. Look at his nutrition. Look at it. What he does in the off seasons. These guys go through hell and they put it all out on the field. Usually there's a couple shitheads out there, but for Thomas to put it all out there and not be happy about this contract situation, Le'Veon, same thing. Le'Veon just continues to hold out. I get it. I get it from a money standpoint. They want to get their best value.
That's what I was going to ask. How do you feel? What are your feelings on it? Do you feel like he's just? Do you feel like he's right in doing what he's doing? Where do you come out on players holding out in general, and specifically, the situation with Earl? Yeah.
So look at it from an elite standpoint.
From a what standpoint?
Elite standpoint, right? So let's look at running backs, for example, right? An elite running back typically has maybe 3 to 5 years in the league. That's what they say. Yeah. That's what they say, right? So for me, especially if it's a running back, man, they're put through hell, right? And they are just ground and pound, and sometimes 35, 40 carries a game. Yep. If they get really intense. I know Le'Veon's hit that, but multiple times, 30 to 40 carries. But I think for running backs, especially in that position, I think it is imperative for them to get as much money and maximize whatever contract they possibly can, because they're not going to be elite for that long. So I think they do have to maximize their money. So for me, my feelings are it's kind of more conditional based off of their role on the team and in the league. With Earl Thomas' situation, I can kind of understand where he's coming from. 2016, he had a leg fracture as well. I believe it to be a broken fibia, and maybe a tibia, but fibia or tibia in 2016 when he collided with his teammate. And then last year he had the hamstring injury, and now this year, again, another leg fracture. So for him, I think it sucks, man. He's now had 2 leg fractures in 2 years. He's had some hamstring issues. He's probably getting a little older. The Legion of Boom is now the Legion of Poon. There's nobody left, right? So yeah, man, I think the holdout is right, but I think every time he's played, dude, he's laid it out there. I think he does give a shit about his team. I think he gives a shit about his teammates. I think he is a team player. And if those weren't the cases and all the previous factors, maybe I would question it. But for Earl Thomas, man, I definitely understand.
I think it's one of those situations where there's going to be a lot of people that every time I talk to people or I see people on social media, not every time, I see a lot of the, just shut up and play. The whole shut up and dribble mentality, which bothers me.
Me too.
Me too. It's like, you don't look at these people as humans. You don't look at them as human beings. Oh, they're getting paid all this money to play a game. They're getting all this stuff. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's all about market value. Whatever the fuck you do for a job, whether you check out bags at Target, whether you are an electrical engineer,
stores,
retail, whatever you do, you're paid and compensated based off your value. What can they do?
Right.
Can they find another motherfucker to replace you just as easy and pay them less? Not every company would do that, but a lot of them would.
Sure.
And the NFL, when you have a salary cap, when you have a certain amount of money that you have to pay people, it's automatically, at some point, it's going to come to a head. It's going to pit the player versus the management at some point. And you guys are all supposed to be a team, right? Everyone's supposed to be a team. Everyone's supposed to be on this team atmosphere. But we see this time and time again where once it gets to that contract dispute, things come to a head. We have issues. We saw that here in Denver. Elvis Dumerville's people don't send in the facts in time, and all of a sudden he's a Baltimore Raven. We lose him coming off the edge from Von Miller. Luckily, we end up, we land DeMarcus Ware kind of because of that thing. But so it all worked out for the Broncos. They end up winning Super Bowl 50 and la-da-da-da-da. But it doesn't always work that way. There's often a lot of times there's contract disputes. A lot of times there's management and players going back and forth, and it really divides. It can really, not only does it divide the player from the management, but it can divide the other players, especially if they're very tied to that. We saw that last year, again, with the Denver Broncos getting rid of TJ Ward. We saw how that affected the secondary. Aqib was pissed off. Chris Harris was pissed off. Darian Stewart was pissed off. Justin Simmons, as the young guy, just kind of steps in like, I'm here.
I guess my turn.
He's not pissed off because he's getting playing time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So he's getting an opportunity.
Now, so now are they looking at him like the odd man out? Are they looking at him like, oh, he's not a real teammate. He wasn't, part of the no-fly zone initially or blah, 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 blah. So then you just get it creates all these issues. And I never, ever, ever, do I fault a player for getting their money?
Right.
This is a here today, gone tomorrow type of business.
You bet.
The team does not care about you. The organization does not care about you. And I say that loosely, but in all actuality, they really don't. They're going to find the next man up.
Yeah.
They're going, and that's what they have to do, unfortunately. We don't have time to wait around for people. And also, we don't have time as organizations. I'm speaking from an organization standpoint. If I was head of an organization, that's exactly how I would look at it. We don't have time to wait around to see what you're going to be and if you're going to be healed up and are you going to be the same Earl Thomas? Are you going to be the same guy? Not to mention that, but we also don't have the money to pay you for stuff you did previously. Like I get that you were awesome and you didn't get hurt for 6 years, Earl.
Totally.
I get it. But we can't pay you for 6 years ago.
Right.
We can't pay you for your last 6 years of service here. You know what I mean? We got to pay you for what you can do for us
for now and in the future. It's not about your accolades of the past. And I know that work in the retail field as well. You know, there's fucking hundreds of me just waiting to take my position. So, you know, I have to really be cognizant of what I can do for the company now. And am I innovative? Am I bringing new things to the table? Am I bringing new practices? Am I hiring the right people, bringing the right people on? And that's exactly what the organizations do, right? It's the same thing. We all, you know, big box stores, we all do the same stuff. Return on investment. And what is it? And that starts today and in the future. And how can I build around you? And if I can't, you know, then we can't reach. We can't reach the money. We can't reach negotiations.
Yep.
You know, and that's where the issue lies.
And I feel bad for Earl. I do, because he didn't take advantage when he was in his prime.
Sure.
He didn't hold out then when they needed him. And that's what Le'Veon Bell's doing now.
Yeah.
He's in his prime.
He's at the top of the mountain right now.
He's saying, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come in here and play and do what happened, get injured like Earl Thomas, just like we saw yesterday. Earl had the opportunity to do the same thing, except he's already had a couple injuries, as you mentioned, in 2016. Le'Veon Bell hasn't. He hasn't really had he had an injury a couple of years ago. I don't even remember what it was.
Who, Le'Veon?
I think it's just because he bounced back so so quick. But,
maybe something simple, hammy, that kind of thing. Not simple, but yeah.
But with the Earl Thomas situation, that could be the exact same thing for Le'Veon Bell. So I really feel for Earl Thomas because he got pushed into a situation where he was holding out over the summer.
He was the
ended
bad
up coming
guy.
in and playing.
Sure.
He was pissed off. He was kind of playing with the chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
He said he was, he came out with the quotes, I'm going to take Father Time to the limit. They say Father Time's undefeated. I'm going to try to take him into OT.
Sure.
It's not looking good right now. It's not looking like you're going into OT.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as bad as I feel for Earl Thomas, I see where the organization's coming from. Mm-hmm. And do I have a solution? No. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know how you, other than guaranteeing contracts, I don't know how you fix this issue. And it's really weird to me that the most physical sport is the only one that doesn't have guaranteed contracts. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Everyone else gets guaranteed money. Yep. Baseball, you're getting guaranteed money. NBA,
Basketball,
you're getting guaranteed money.
Of course you are.
But not in the NFL.
Huh.
And it's crazy because it's the
no fun
most
league.
popular sport.
It's the no fun league.
It's the richest sport.
It is.
And they don't have guaranteed contracts.
Especially with the advertisements. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yep.
Billions of dollars.
Crushing it.
Totally.
So I'm sure this isn't the last we're going to hear of something similar to this, something going down like this. There's always contract disputes. There's people that think they're worth more than they are. But I will say this to the people that are kind of giving the whole shut up and dribble, or the whole just play the game. You're already getting paid enough money. Right. You're getting paid enough. Stop crying. Stop complaining. I hate those people because they don't understand. They're people that probably aren't that fucking good at what they do, have never had any value or any market value to speak of, have never been involved in a negotiation. And they're people that just want everyone to be like them and just be mediocre. Right. Well, guess what? There aren't a bunch of Earl Thomases floating around out there. There's not a lot of motherfuckers in the grand scheme of things in this country and in the world. What's the percentage of people that could do his job? Yeah. That could go in week in and week out,
learn the playbook,
cover the best tight ends, cover the best receivers, keep up with them. And Earl Thomas is not a big guy either. No. But he's been one of the best safeties in the league. You know what I mean? And there's not a lot of people that can just step in and do Earl Thomas's job. That's what I'm trying to say here. So it all comes off supply and demand. Is there a supply? Is there a bunch of people that can do that job? No, but the job is very in demand. Mm-hmm. The job will always be in demand. You're going to need that safety. You're going to need someone who could step up and play that position, and they're going to get the money that position commands. Yeah, it's simple. It's simple economics. So anyone that says he's complaining or shut up and play or you're making enough money, you don't know you've never taken an economics class. You don't know what supply and demand is.
Right,
you know what I mean?
totally.
It's very, very fucking simple. It's just like resale on a shoe.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
It's just like a store manager
How many people
saying,
can do the position?
hey,
How many shoes are there? It's all the same thing.
Yeah, so not everybody can go into be a store manager and run a team of 12 people and manage them and develop them and lead them and make that store flourish. Not everybody can do that. So when I look at it and say, oh, man, I haven't got a raise in 3 or 4 years, I'm going to try to get a raise, and if not, I'm going to look elsewhere. And that doesn't mean I'm going to leave necessarily, but I'm going to try to find something better. I'm going to find what I think I'm owed, and that's exactly what these guys are doing. Yeah, we're comparing millions versus thousands. I get that, but it's the same fucking concept, and it still is economics, just like you said.
Yeah. And obviously a store manager, there's still... comparing those two scales, there's still a ton of people that can come in and manage it, or come in and work at the post office or do whatever. You
just
know what
because
I mean?
they got a business degree and they can probably, in theory, go in there, but a business degree versus going and fucking playing for the NFL, playing against the most elite athletes on the face of the planet. That's different.
And I'm not discrediting that. I'm not saying anyone could go in and manage a retail store. Anyone could go in and be a line cook at a 5-star restaurant or a chef or anything like that. These are all things that they're still specialized to some extent. Are there more people that can do it than play safety in the NFL? Yeah, sure. There just are. But you're also not getting the money that the safety in the NFL brings.
But the concept is the same. You're still searching to find that money. You're still searching to find what you believe you're owed versus what somebody else believes you're owed.
I think
that's it.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page here. I think we're essentially on the same page, saying the same thing. We don't disagree.
Totally.
We feel for Earl Thomas. We see where he's coming from. But also, at the end of the day, when you're under a salary cap and you're a team and you're in charge of winning, the fan base doesn't care. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like most fans, I would say, they root for the laundry. You know what I mean? They root for the color of the jersey. Yeah. They'll root for the guy if he's on the team. But once the guy leaves the team, it's not like, oh, we're not fans anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, the owners realize that as well, and they've got to move forward. Yep. They've got to find that next best safety. They've got to find the next best player to fill that spot.
Any interview you ever hear from somebody being, injured or whatever, it's always next man up. That is always going to be the case. Next man up. Hey man, we got these guys. We've they're doing a great job in practice. Blah blah blah. Then it's easy to switch gears in the way of next man up. It's not easy losing somebody of that magnitude. It's not easy working through these contract disputes, but it's easy to say next man up. We got to work with what we got. Let's go.
Injuries coming out of the weekend. This will have some fantasy implications. Tyler Eifert. Did you see that disgusting injury? Dude,
we saw that together.
Oh,
dog.
That's right.
And that was the worst.
I was like covering my eyes. You know how I am with injuries because being a guy that's broken both my legs 2 separate occasions, I know what it feels like to pop a fucking knee out. You know what I mean? Like I know what the shit feels like. I know what it looks like. It makes me want to throw up. It makes me want to pass out.
Sure.
I don't like it. I don't like blood. I don't like broken bones. I'm like traumatized from those experiences in my teens, breaking my legs, playing sports. I'm traumatized. I don't like watching it. I don't like seeing it. I never like to see a guy get hurt. I'm the same guy in the MMA fight. Like I can watch a guy get knocked out and I'm okay. I can continue to watch. But man, once someone gets put in an arm bar, a knee bar, and that shit's about to be snapped or pops the shoulder out, I have to fucking turn away.
Yeah,
I'm a girl when it comes to that shit.
Yeah,
I cannot do it, bro.
And Red Zone played it over like 3 or 4 times.
I'm like this, screen in my eyes. Like I'm looking to just try to see enough of the screen, but I'm not really looking. Like I'm half kind of peeking through like a little kid. It grosses me out, bro. Like I'll legit throw up in my lap when I see that. And I think something. Maybe you guys can leave in the comments if any of you guys have really just broke an ankle terribly skateboarding or just had a really bad knee injury, a broken leg or some shit like that. Do you guys relate? Or do you guys relate to me? Do you have trouble watching those injuries? Yeah. Or is it more of a thing where it's made you closer and you enjoy seeing those injuries? And if so, maybe you're going to go be a doctor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't enjoy seeing that shit, but that shock value is like, oh my God.
So you're able to, you've never had a serious injury though, right?
And I want to see it, but I don't want to see it fucking 3 or 4 times. Like I'm not that interested. It's like, holy shit. I looked at that, and then of course Red Zone fucking aired it 3 times before doing their, hey, you might want to close your eyes if you're a little squeamish.
I don't even know what the injury is. But all I know is he's laying there on the field. Picture a man laying on his back.
Right.
Your toes should be pointing towards the sky when you lay on your back. The left leg was pointing towards the sky, the toes. All good.
Totally.
The right leg was literally laying horizontal to the ground.
It's like an L.
Laying parallel to the ground. I mean, and it was pointing towards the sideline.
Yeah.
It was fucking disgusting.
Yeah, so he broke his right ankle, obviously.
Is it ankle? Okay.
Yeah, so ankle, and he'll have to have major reconstructive surgery for that.
You remember he had the elbow, the shattered elbow?
Three years ago?
2015 probably?
Fuck, man.
Something like that?
It might be 4 years ago.
15?
Yeah.
Dude.
Eifert's had a few,
He's got to be done. At this point, do you wrap it up? Do you put a capper on the career? You made some decent money, and now it's time to
I think the craziest injury in like most recent history of this Tyler Eifert is that Bears player. Was it Zach Miller? That had that had that super shitty injury. I think that was Zach Miller from the Bears. That was kind of the most comparative to this one.
Have you seen him since? No, right?
No,
he's done.
Yeah.
Has he retired? I think I don't know. I haven't seen him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's retired.
Sure. My big things and that really affected me injury wise this week. Fucking Fournette, dog.
Dude, he can't stay healthy.
Hamstring again, man. And this is why he was out the week 2 and 3 with hamstring. Came back week 4, started the game. Literally, I think he got me almost 5 points, and then was out. Second half, out the whole fucking game. And then Will Fuller, also a hamstring injury.
Yep.
So hamstrings, fuck hamstrings this week, dog. I'm sick of it.
I think it comes from, I think you see a lot of these injuries within the first 5 weeks of the season.
You think they need to be doing yoga?
I think they're just along those lines. I mean, in all seriousness, I know you're joking, but dude, yoga, that probably would help a lot of these guys, for one.
Yeah.
For two, I think it is a lack of conditioning because of the amount of practice reps, or the lack of practice reps, rather, that they get these days. There's not as much practice reps. There's not as much hitting in training camp or hitting in practice.
Yeah,
so when you get into that,
protecting the assets. What's that fool's name over in the Browns? The offensive line coach.
Oh, Bob Wiley?
Yeah, we don't... We
ain't do no stretching.
You think they did stretches in World War I or World War II? You... Just get him a couple jumping jacks.
Exactly. Wiley.
Yeah.
Take your health advice from a guy who looks like
maybe
that.
Will Fuller and freaking Fournette were taking advice from Bob Wiley. What the fuck's going on?
I don't know. I think it does have something to do with the lack of conditioning, the lack of hitting, the lack of practice reps, all that stuff. I think that's what you see. Fournette's a guy that has had trouble staying healthy, even in college.
Even in LSU,
he had the ankle problems. Yeah. Now he's got the ankle and the hamstring.
Big one, yeah.
TJ Yeldon, right behind him, has been a little banged up, but he still went off for 19 yesterday. I know, because I left him on the bench, probably like a lot of you.
Yep, I was able to put him in Draftkings. He was one of my great spots.
He helped you get down in the basement.
And fantasy as well. I even started Fournette in one league, in the same league, and Yeldon in the same fucking game.
Oh,
dog,
wow.
In the same league. And I had Yeldon as the flex. So obviously I got like 5 points.
What did Fournette do, 5?
I think he did just under 5.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like 4-8.
Before he went out? When did he go out? Second quarter? Third quarter?
Yeah, and then obviously during half he was said to not
ruled out.
Ruled out for the second half. So any other big injuries?
Gronk, bro.
Gronk, yeah.
Did you see Gronk go out?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what happened to him.
Ankle.
Okay.
And he never came back.
I have him, and I took him as my first pick in a couple of different leagues. I was late. I was like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
All the good running backs were gone. It was just, Antonio Brown, the top receiver, a couple of receivers were gone. So I just went Gronk. I figure tight end's tough this year. It's good to have someone that's going to be in there consistently. If you would have told me that the Patriots are going to put up 38, I would have thought Gronk has at least 2 of those scores.
Easy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that he was not even really involved in that 38 points and then he went out hurt.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. I mean, that's my first round draft pick in a couple different leagues.
Sure.
That's a guy.
Edelman's coming back next week.
Yep.
So
I was able to grab him late in a few leagues, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
But still, I can't use him at tight end. You know what I mean? Like, I still got to go find a new tight end. I got to go try to find. Luckily, I did pick up Vance McDonald in a couple leagues last year. I told you guys to get Vance McDonald before the weekend.
He had a great game last
night. He had
time.
another good game. He's going to be near impossible. Unless you're high up on the waiver priority this week. If you didn't get him last week when I told you to get him, now everyone's on him. They all saw him in primetime on Sunday night against Baltimore. You saw the dude looking like a beast out there. If you don't have top waiver priority and your team shit the bed last weekend, you're probably not getting him this week. But I did grab him early in a few leagues. In and that's who I'm going to use to fill in for Gronk.
What about our boy Kittle? No injuries.
Kittle.
To speak of.
Yeah.
But what a fucking week he had.
Yeah. Oh, I told you, he's the only guy to play in that Niners game.
The only
I
guy.
lost big on that one. I had the Chargers -10.
Yeah.
Chargers barely eked out a win.
Yeah.
Fellas, you're playing C.J. Beathard.
Yeah.
This is insane to me. Is Joey Bosa mean that much to this defense? I thought this defense, they were a top 5 defense in fantasy this year.
Yeah.
Ingram and Bosa off the edge. You bring in Weddle at safety.
Yep.
Their secondary. What?
Well, no, week 8. Hopefully. When
Oh, no,
Bosa's
I'm
back.
tripping. You lose Weddle in the secondary. I think
Yeah.
that's where I was going. I think that is.
Lost him.
Yeah, he went to Baltimore. We just saw him last night in Baltimore, playing his lights out.
Yeah.
Lighting up. Did you see that one where he went underneath James Conner? Kind of picked him up. It was like a.
Was that on the sideline?
Dude, he's
Close
a
to
run
the sideline?
stuffing. What's up?
Was that close to the sideline?
No, it was middle of the field.
Yeah,
He
no, I
just
didn't
came
see
up
that
and
one.
stuffed the run. Dude, he literally picked James Conner up.
Really?
And Conner was still trying to run forward. It was a crazy hit. But losing Eric Weddle, I think on that back end, that secondary is having problems over there with the Chargers. So not only are you having a lack of pass rush with Bosa being out, but your secondary is just getting sliced up. C.J. Beathard, really? He's slicing you up over there?
I know.
Give me a break.
For sure.
Come on. So, I think so. Other than the Gronk injury, I think that's pretty much all the injuries.
Yeah,
Gronk,
Earl Thomas,
Fournette.
Gronk, Eifert, and then, then your smaller kind of. And then there were some groin injuries. Obviously, we don't need to get too into that, but those are kind of the big ones.
Hilton went out too, but he returned. He had like a chest injury
Yeah,
or something.
yep.
Then he went out. Then he left with a hamstring injury. Then he came back in. So, it's T.Y. Hilton.
Totally. Old man Hilton.
I think I'm pretty good on that. I don't know. I haven't done enough research to give you guys tight ends. Other than Vance McDonald, I have no idea who to go and pick up. I assume Eric Ebron's gone. Who is what's his name? Oh, Evan Ingram's hurt. Jack Doyle's hurt. Delaney Walker's hurt. Greg Olson's hurt. All these guys. So tight end has become. It was a position that was already tough to start the year, and now it's become even tougher because you have all these high tight ends injured. So everybody's going to the wire trying to find anyone. I mean, I'm pulling out all the stops and going desperation mode yesterday. I'm starting Ricky Seals-Jones from the Cardinals. Okay, who knows who Ricky Seals-Jones is?
That guy
Yeah,
is.
exactly. That
was
my starting tight end yesterday in one of my leagues.
Is that Ricky from Ballers? I don't even know who that is.
Ricky, no, it's Ricky Jarrett.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's Ricky
I've
Jarrett.
never even heard of that guy.
Yeah, that's how bad it's getting over here for me in the tight end position. But nonetheless, that's some of the injuries. I don't really have any waiver wire stuff as far as fantasy goes. I was going to look at maybe some waiver wire pickups and stuff, but I just didn't have time to research them this early in the week.
Ricky Seals-Jones, there he is. He's 30%.
You thought I was lying to you? You thought it was a just made-up name?
He's
What do you mean?
He's 30% owned. I mean, that's more ownership
because
than what I thought.
because people have all these other guys. And
Yeah,
they have nobody
Harry.
to go for. Yeah, Harry.
Yeah, Hair.
Yeah, I mean, you're
We're
stuck
in
with
the Rocky
guys.
Mountains.
You're stuck with guys like him. You're stuck with guys like Austin Hooper down in Atlanta. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are the kind of guys. Antonio Gates, old man Gates.
Old man Gates.
Caught a wide open ton yesterday.
He was used finally. I don't know what that guy's doing. Is he on HGH? Is that guy like 85 right now?
Yeah, he's old.
Yeah, old man. What about Tyler Higbee?
He's a good pickup. Yeah, he's a good pickup.
He's only 6% owned right now. Antonio Gates, 18% owned. Another one that they're saying is Rhett Ellison.
Yeah, for the Giants.
Yeah, because
Giants. Yep.
So
he was the guy that I was going to talk about last week, and then I kind of figured, he'll probably have a dud this week. I don't want people to run out and get him, and then he did have a dud. He didn't do that great. Kind of just filling in over there. I think, let me see, what else as far as fantasy? I think that kind of wraps up fantasy there. What other little headlines did you have?
Gotcha. The most recent one over the weekend that was kind of fun to me, especially with preseason NBA starting, J.R. Smith with the Supreme tattoo that he got last year on his right calf, leg. The NBA has come out and said, hey, if you do not cover that Supreme tattoo, the league will fine you. And the reasoning behind that with the league is, and that goes back to, I think it was, who was the Detroit, Rashad, The Detroit, not before the Detroit Bad Boys, but that time where you had like Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace. I believe it kind of started with him. He was going to get like this Nestle, logo.
Sheed, I remember that.
Yeah, remember Sheed getting there was talks of him getting this Nestle logo tattooed.
Yeah, they told him he'd have to cover that. I was like, oh, fuck.
You got it.
Like 01.
So this was 01. It was 01 actually.
Yeah, it was a long time
because I read about that. And
I remember that.
So that's kind of where this whole thing stems from is like, hey, if you're getting other brands, tattooed, NBA wants their money or whatever, we're covering it because that's not what we do here. So that's kind of where this stems from. And now J.R. Smith got that Supreme tattoo, and the league says, hey, if you're not covering that, we're going to fine you each game or a certain percentage for the year.
What do you think? Where do you think? What's the direction he should go with that?
It's tough, man, because we're at a time in this world right now where, the Me Too movements and the, trying to get equal rights from all degrees, whether you're black, whether you're a woman, whether you're, whatever it is. I like having my individualism come out.
Individuality,
individuality, right? I stand for that, and I think that's a huge part. And I think if you want me, then you have to get me,
right?
And that's kind of what it is. It's one and the same for me. So, from JR's standpoint, would I ever get a Supreme Box logo tattoo? Fuck no, man. Because brands die. What if this brand makes this fucking stupidest decision and just makes a mockery? And you got to tattoos are different. But for me, I love individuality, and I tell you, I like it, but I understand running.
You like
business.
The tattoo, or you like the NBA doing what they're doing?
No,
what do you
I like him trying to show who he is and what he wants.
Gotcha.
And just
so you like
being
JR's
him. I like
doing him getting the tattoo,
I do,
kind of doing his own thing.
But I
he obviously
understand.
has a ton of tattoos. It's not like the guy just went out and got one random tattoo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's got some shitty tattoos for sure.
Yeah.
But I understand, the business standpoint too. I look at me being a store manager. I mean, I have a dress code. I have certain colorways of shoes that I can and can't wear. I mean, all those different things. Hey, man, it's a business, and if you want to be a part of this business, I get that as well. But JR's return on whatever he brings is questionable. A lot of times because he's feast or famine, whether he's throwing threes up and making them or just fucking outright missing them all the time, him thinking they won the game or they're winning the game and he's not winning the game.
Yeah, biggest blunder in finals history.
Yeah, so I think that can be brought up, but spin it this way. What if LeBron got this Supreme Box logo tattoo? My question is, would they have come out this quick to LeBron? Would they, do certain people get away with things? Do certain people not? I mean, I know this stems back to Rasheed Wallace, in 2001 with the Nestle logo, but that's a question I would have. LeBron is the GOAT right now, right? And he's the moneymaker, and he's going to bring all this money to LA. He already is, and all this coverage. Do they treat him the same as JR?
I think they would.
Yeah.
I don't think Adam Silver's playing favoritism. I don't think he's attacking JR specifically or going after him specifically. I think if it's anyone, I think he would do the same thing. I think you remember for years or forever, Melo wears that sleeve on his arm.
He does. Yep.
He has a tattoo.
Iverson the same.
I don't know what Iverson's deal is. I don't know if it was fashion or what it was.
Melo's covering something up, though.
It had to be. It's definitely covering something up. That goes back to when he first came here to Denver. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing that, and that was a bunch of talk. There was a bunch of talk about that. Melo having to wear that sleeve to cover it up. Mm-hmm. So JR, same thing. JR's just going to have to wear I guess, leg sleeve or
why can't he wear the Supreme leg sleeve?
Right, exactly.
That Odell or Beckham wore but before the game started yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here's what I would do. Here's what I would say. I don't know if J.R. Smith, do you know? I don't think this has come out. So I don't even know. Never mind. I'm not going to ask you because obviously you don't know. Did he contact Supreme before he did this? Did they collaborate on this? Was this something they agreed upon? Was he paid for this? Anything like that? That's something the NBA is first and foremost worried about.
Yeah.
Is it an endorsement? Is he paying them? Or is he getting paid from this? Is he, getting paid to promote something to use our platform? Because it's the NBA's platform. They're the ones providing the TV, paying for the, getting paid for the TV rights, negotiating those TV deals. They're the ones packing the arenas. The NBA is the one putting on the show. They're facilitating all this. Without the NBA itself, there is no J.R. Smith. No one gives a shit about J.R. Smith.
Right.
So I see where they're coming from. I don't think they're playing favorites. But what I would have done with as J.R. Smith, here's what I would have done. I would have talked to Supreme. I would have made an agreement with Supreme. I would have gotten the tattoo, and I would have said, I'm not wearing the sleeve. Supreme, pay the fine every week. Supreme, can, just like Jordan did in 85 with the band sneakers,
shoes, yep.
Huge marketing opportunity. I think it was, the whole rumors, 5 G's a game that Nike supposedly paid. Now, there's nothing that, everything I've researched, there's nothing that Nike comes out and confirms we paid these fines for Jordan. There's nowhere Jordan says Nike paid these fines, but that's the rumor. That Nike paid those fines for Jordan back in the day with the band ones. We all know the whole story. If you don't know the story, do some research on the Jordan 1 band. But this is a similar situation. If that's true and Nike did pay for that, look what it did for their sales. Look what it did for Michael Jordan. Look what it shot him into superstardom. Now, you can argue that's a different time. It's a different era. That was the only avenue for entertainment. That was the only medium for advertising was TV. Obviously, you had newspapers and all that stuff, but that was the main go, was TV. TV rights were huge. That was mid-'80s. So it's a different time. Maybe it's not as important. It's not as much the internet's better marketing tool than television is or whatever. But if Supreme comes in and says, "Hey, we're gonna pay for this. We're gonna pay these fines," I think that's a pretty smart play, even if you do it for half the season.
Right.
Now, not only is as soon as he wears that, or as soon as he doesn't cover it up and the fines come out, you're in every news headline. You're on Bleacher Report. You're on Sporting News. Mm-hmm. You're on everything. You're on ESPN. You know what I mean? Supreme is getting all this coverage that it wasn't getting before. Now, maybe they don't need the help.
Right.
Maybe they don't. I'm gonna just go on a limb here and say they have the money to do it.
Yeah.
They have the money to pay these fines, no problem, each week for a whole season if they want to. That's something I would have negotiated as J.R. Smith. That's kind of where I would go with it.
Yeah, totally. No, I mean, Supreme started in 1994. I think they started with just clothing and more of the skateboard-centric type of mindset. And now, obviously, hip-hop to music to, sports. Supreme's everywhere and on everything. They obviously don't still, even today, since 94, have a problem selling out.
Yeah, they could have done the J.R. Smith collab.
They could have.
They could have just called it the Supreme J.R. Smith collab.
If I remember
TV.
watching Complex Sneaker Shopping with JR, Joe De La Pluma talked about some of like JR's connections with Supreme, and it sounds like obviously JR is looked out for, by Supreme, and that wasn't the words exactly, but whereas is Supreme paying him anything additionally besides looking out for him? I don't know that, and that's we'll see, but. I don't know. This is cool. I think it's cool for JR and, get him some headlines, get some Supreme some headlines. And, if you got to cover it up, you got to cover it up. But, hey, he got his extra 5 seconds of fame for not a positive thing, but at least for something not losing a fucking game in a finals.
Right.
So that's good.
Let's stick with NBA preseason action here. LeBron makes his debut last night against the Nuggets. Did you see any of that?
In LA. I watched just a little bit of it. LeBron wasn't in long enough to,
He did go into the second quarter, which I was surprised about, though.
I thought it was just going to be a first quarter
totally,
thing.
Same.
But he did, and obviously the Nuggets got the W in that, but it's still preseason. Our boy, was it Harris? Yeah.
Oh, Gary Harris?
Yeah, Gary Harris.
Yep.
Did he play much? I didn't really see much.
I didn't see much of the game. I didn't see any of the game. I was watching the Ravens-Steelers game last night, and I saw the highlights of LeBron. I saw he had a couple nice assists. He had a deep three. Mm-hmm. It was out in San Diego. Other than that, I'm not interested. I don't really care.
Had the LeBron 16s in the Oreo colorway on?
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He did.
See, I didn't even see that. Yeah, you're deeper on it than me. All I saw was the highlights. And again, it's preseason NBA. I'm just really not that concerned. Yeah. There's plenty of NBA games. Preseason NFL, I'm always concerned.
Yeah.
I have fantasy teams, and there's not that many games. I try to take advantage of every NFL
and there's so many injuries in the NFL, so you have to be able to go really deep. Obviously,
I don't play Draftkings or fantasy basketball either, or baseball. Yeah. It's just too many games.
I play it during the playoffs sometimes.
Yeah. I was going to say I'll do Draftkings.
Not during the regular season. Yep. No way.
It's too much, bro.
Yeah. Just like we talked about the last podcast. Won't get into that.
It's just too much.
Yeah.
I'm looking at I'm finding the NBA regular season wins line, and I want to give you the Lakers line, and I want you to pick over or under on this.
Ooh.
Do you know what the line is? Have you looked at this at all?
I have not looked at
this
the line.
This is fucking shocking. Where do you think the line would be? What do you think Vegas would set the over-under at?
Let's see. How many games in a regular season?
82.
82 in a regular season. Are they going above 500? Is the line above 500? Like in terms of...
Yeah. No, give me your line. I don't want to give you any clues.
Okay, so 82 games.
What do you think they set the over? Okay, so for example, here, I'm going to give you the Nuggets, okay?
Okay.
I'll give you the Nuggets because that's our home squad.
Sure.
And I'll give you Golden State. Okay. Nuggets are over under 47.5 wins. Okay. That's where theirs is at. The let's see, Golden State Warriors defending champs, 63.5 wins.
Over under 63.5?
Yep. So obviously Golden State, that's the best on here.
Sure.
63.5 wins. I think the lowest, man, they're
30.
What's up?
What's the lowest? Like
Dude,
20.
They're projecting the Atlanta Hawks to be awful. Awful, bro. 23.5 wins over under for the Atlanta Hawks. Do they not win 24 games this year? God, are they that bad? I don't follow a ton of Hawks basketball.
I don't know anything
Let's
about
be
the
real.
Hawks. Yeah.
But man, my ATLians, any of the ATL listeners, you got to fill me in. Why are the Hawks this bad? 23.5. They're the lowest.
We got to hit up the Dungeon family and say, "What's up?
No shit.
What's up over there, big boy?
Oh shit. What's going on down there?"
Let's see. So I would say plus or minus Lakers
over under.
Okay. Over under. Let's do an even 40.
High with LeBron James. You think it's that low?
Let's do an even.
It's higher.
You know what, dude? Chemistry. Who knows what that looks like? I don't know, man. I know Ingram. Ingram looks tough. But then I go back to the big ballers.
Lonzo.
I don't know much about the Lakers now, to be honest with you. So I'm going to say
Okay,
over under 40.
It's 49.5 is what Vegas has it at.
Okay.
They have them at 49.5 wins. Do you think they finish over or under 49.5 wins?
And Golden State is targeting
63.5. Yep.
Are we just going to make a bet on this real quick?
No, I don't think it's. You
want to do $5?
You want to bet on this?
Yeah.
The Lakers over or under?
Give me something to look forward to.
Well, let me get. What do you think they're going over or under? I don't know what I want to. I don't know if I want to bet you yet.
And they have them at 49 or 49.5.
49.5. So they'd have to win 50 games for you to hit the over. Under 49 or under.
I'm going to say under.
You're going the Lakers under. I'll take that bet.
Okay, $5.
$5.
I'll take under.
All right, so I got 50 or more. You don't think they're going to win 50 games with LeBron motherfucking James?
I don't know.
The greatest basketball player in the league and maybe the greatest of all time. They're not going to win 50 games?
I just want to take your $5, man.
You're not doing a good job of taking it. What do you mean? Under 49.5?
So yes, he is the best player in the league. You look at the Cavs this year. I don't know if the Cavs are going to win fucking 25 games.
Oh, the Cavs. Yeah, I don't know.
Right? So
it's funny. Tristan, did you see Tristan Thompson tweeted out the other day that?
No, I don't pay attention to that. I don't pay attention to that fucker.
He said that the East still runs through Cleveland, and all kinds of NBA players started like roasting him, bro, on Twitter, like retweeting him and laughing emojis and memes.
Yeah, right.
Like, who the fuck believes the East still runs through Cleveland?
No, LeBron can.
MGK doesn't even believe the East still runs through Cleveland. Get out of here.
No, LeBron is the GOAT. At this point, I mean, it can still be argued with Jordan, but LeBron makes people better. He carries teams. He carries the weight. He is the face of the NBA. He is what everybody compares anybody to. He is the best player in the world, bar none.
So, and you take him under 50 games.
Well, it's the first.
All that to be said, you take him under 50 games.
It's the first year. Who knows what the chemistry is looking like?
It's a long season, Dallas. They can work that shit
out
in the
coach?
First 2 months.
Luke Walton? You think Luke's gonna fucking coach? No, LeBron's gonna coach.
Luke is your father, dog. What do you mean?
Not my father, dog. Fuck that guy.
What do you mean?
I just think I think Luke's gonna take a backseat to coaching. I think it's gonna take them a little while to get that chemistry going. But again, LeBron makes things happen. I get that, but it's a team sport still. Even though
in all
LeBron
fairness,
carries,
this is very, very uneducated predictions by us. I mean, I don't know. Besides LeBron and Lonzo Ball, I really have no
Ingram,
clue
about it.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with the Lakers. I don't know what they look like. I don't know what schemes they're running. I don't know shit about the Lakers. I'm solely basing my opinion off LeBron James that they're going to win more than 50
being
games.
a badass.
That's it. That's strictly. I don't know what your Laker research is, but I have none. I don't.
Yeah, no, mine just I know their top 3 players. I know that obviously
it's football season.
The money
I'm not looking towards that right now.
I know the money that Magic Johnson is dumping into that whole thing.
Oh,
and
geez.
I know their owner looks like what's that actor? I forget now. We won't even get into that. But I just worry about the chemistry. I know it does take a little while to get chemistry.
Well, look how it was when Kevin Durant first came to Golden State. It took him a while, but I mean, they got under control within a couple months.
Yeah, but
a couple months in, you can have a losing record 2 months in, and still turn it around and make the playoffs easily.
You're talking Steve Kerr versus Luke Walton. I think that makes a big difference. Your coaching staff makes a big fucking difference.
I'm not saying that the Lakers are Golden State. I'm just saying they're going to win 50 more games.
Totally.
I'm not even saying. Okay, I am saying they'll be in the Western Conference Finals. I don't know if they'll be in the finals, but they'll be in the Western Conference Finals. Who's battling LeBron in the West? Let's be real.
Not now that Kawhi's with Toronto,
Maybe,
you got DeMar DeRozan in San Antonio. Manu finally retired.
They're obviously they're playing Golden State. That's who's battling them in the West in the finals. That's why I don't say they're in the finals. But
so what about Houston? Yeah,
that's the team. That's
Houston
exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. Houston and the Lakers. But no. The Western Conference Finals will be the Lakers and Golden State.
Yeah.
That'll be the Western Conference Finals.
I don't know, man. I might see. I'll throw another 5 and say it's going to be Houston and Golden State. Western Conference Finals.
You think Houston puts them out?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Back-to-back 5s.
Okay.
All right. So I got the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. You got Houston. We all know Golden State's going to be there on the other side. If they're not there, you got to blow that team up. You got to blow up Oracle. You got to put C4 in that fucker and just blow the whole thing up. Steph Curry's got to go take a long sleep in the Bay. Yeah. You got to go. I mean, let's be real. If that team does not make the Western Conference Finals, if they don't win the championship, fuck that. I mean,
do you think they start going do you still think they start going south? Hopefully not. Hopefully they'll keep it together. But Durant, isn't his contract over at the end of this year? So he can go wherever he wants the following year. So I think there's and Klay Thompson, he's slated to possibly get out of there. So I think you have some free agency coming the following year. So this is Golden State's kind of maybe last hurrah at before some major changes, I believe.
So let's take it one further. You think Golden State? Do you think they go over or under 63.5, where Vegas has their line set?
63.
I'm going to tell you.
I got to take the over.
You're going over.
I got to take the over. Yeah.
I'm going under.
God, what are we? 15?
$5. We're at 15.
We're at 15 already.
I got Golden State under 63.5, and here's why. I think what you're talking about with LeBron. We don't know how the chemistry is going to be. We don't know how they're going to look. I think the same thing is going to happen with Golden State, especially once Boogie Cousins gets back in there. Now, here's the thing about Cousins. Cousins isn't going to add to the roster. I think he's injured. He's not even going to be there until probably January.
Still got the Achilles.
So it's going to be a while before he even hits the roster. It's going to be 2019. You know what I mean? It's going to be after the new year before he even gets in there. But here's why I think they go under. I think the pressure of winning back-to-back championships, which they just did, I think all that stuff starts to wear on you. You start to get worn down. You start to get worn down by the expectations. You start to get worn down. You want to chill. You want to relax. You get comfortable. You're on a long road trip on a random Wednesday night in Memphis. You lose that game. You know what I mean? You get content. You think you should just be able to roll in, similar to Minnesota and Buffalo a couple weeks ago. You think you should just be able to roll in, wax these fools, and then you just get caught with your pants down. You know
and all of a sudden you got Sam Darnold Supermaning over people.
That's what I think happens. So also,
or not Sam Darnold.
Josh Allen. I knew you were talking about. I knew you were talking about. Let me give you this really quick. Last year, do you know how many games Golden State won? Do you remember? I didn't know until I looked it up. I forgot.
Hold on. Let me think. I think they weren't they in the 60s?
58 wins.
Really?
58 wins last year. So that would have been under the 63.5.
And that was a championship year for them.
And they were already starting to you sensed it last year.
Yeah.
The regular season, they were just bored. They started to get complacent.
Totally.
They started to get bored. They started to get, when are the playoffs here? You know what I mean? And that's why I think Golden State doesn't hit the 64 win mark. I think they finish around the same, somewhere between 50 and 60 wins. It's close. It's very close, but I don't think they get to 64. The year before, do you know what they did? Back in 2016,
Didn't they have the record?
Nope, that they did 67. The year before that, they did 73.
That was where they beat the record. Yeah.
73-9, which sounds awful, by the way. Jordan's 72-10 is just clean.
Way sicker.
One of the my favorite 11s as well. Love the 72-10s.
Yeah.
The 73-9s, that's awful. I wouldn't even buy that shoe. I don't care who put the shoe out. It could be the greatest shoe on earth. I'm not buying the 73-9s.
Just doesn't feel good.
Sounds terrible. Doesn't flow. So anyway, yeah, they went 58 wins, 67 wins, and then 73-9 in the 2015 season. So those are the past 3 years. They've only, or last year was the first year they didn't go over that. So if we're going off history, you're looking pretty good. They've gone over the 64 win mark 2 of the last 3 seasons. Well, but last year is more similar to the team they have now.
Totally. And
I think that's where they go between 55 and 60.
And like I said, my concern is, I still made the bet, but my concern is Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant are definitely free agents 2019. So having those guys possibly leave, are those guys going to be connected head-wise through the regular season? Maybe not. Now, if they obviously in the playoffs, they're going to, they're grown-ups and they're professionals. They're going to do what they need to do. But having that free agency lurking right around the corner.
Interesting. Do you have any more headlines or any more sports stuff before we jump into some sneaker talk here, kind of wrap up the podcast?
Yeah, no, I think sports stuff is pretty good. Yeah, man, I'm ready for sneakers, man.
Cool. Actually, let me get your prediction tonight. What do you think? Oh no, we'll do it at the end. We'll wrap that up. I'll wrap that up. I'll get your Rockies and Broncos predictions here. We'll see if you're right. I'll give out my predictions as well. And then let's just jump into some sneakers here. Over the weekend, you and I actually copped a few pairs of sneakers. We got blessed from the plug. The homie Mike, Swole Mike came through, blessed us, and we got the Ultra Boost mids early, the multicolored joints that are coming out.
Yep.
And then what are the green ones called? I know we're calling them the Graspins because they're like grass stained Kith Aspen collabo.
As far as sneaker news is, and I even took a screenshot of my box just to see, sneaker news is still referring them to the multicolor mids.
So both pairs are just multicolor?
You got it. But
one's green,
you have
one's
the turquoise.
black, I guess?
Yeah, you have the turquoise, which I have, turquoise and green, whatever. And then you have, obviously, the darker.
Yep. So you cop the green joints. I cop the black joints. Yep. We're going to be having a dual review dropping of those. So you guys we'll give you kind of sizing info. We'll give you all the stuff you need to know on those pairs of sneakers as we were both able to cop a little bit early. Mm-hmm. So that should be out this week. What's your schedule? Can we shoot that review this week?
Oh yeah.
Are you busy?
Got nothing but time.
No, you don't have to say because we're on the podcast. Can you really do it? Like, are we gonna be able to carve out some time?
Yeah, I've got multiple evenings this week.
All right,
so
I'll make time as well. We'll get those reviews up.
Yeah.
We got that one coming. We got the acronym Prestos coming. I got the Volt colorway. You got the Racers. So we'll do those as well. And then I also have the Levi's Jordan 4. I want to give you guys my top 5 reasons to pay resale for that sneaker. Why you should pay resale. I'm going to give you 5 reasons, and we're also going to review the shoe. That video will also be dropping. So
nice.
3 different sneaker videos coming up, man. We got them in the pipeline. We got it planned out. So yeah, the sneakers are coming. Don't worry. We did cop those over the weekend. Is there anything else you copped? Oh, did you get your mountain bike, Jones? What happened? I need 3 of those. I'm selling my Jordan 1 collection. What happened to all that?
I sure did, man. So I was able to get on, man, because I had Thursday off. So I was lucky. I was pretty close to the phone. I went to the mall after here, dude, in search of the GoPro Hero 7. Couldn't find it anywhere, man. So I still need to pick that up. But while I was out and about, Packers, because I follow them on Twitter, the notification came through saying, hey, it's online, go. And I was able to pick up the Packer EQT 9118 Adventure Outdoor Shoe.
Wow.
I'm ready to...
Stomping the feet, banging the fists together. Dude, if you see this guy in studio, if you're watching YouTube, he's excited.
I'm ready to go, man. I love this shoe.
Did you get 3 pairs like you wanted?
I didn't. I was only able to land 1, and I went in there to try to get a second one, see if I had the time, and then it said, it gave me this error that says, hey, if you try to get multiple pairs, all orders will be canceled, and it says all orders, not just the ones that...
Multiple.
Yeah,
the extras.
I wasn't going to chance that. Okay, I need my order. So globally on October 6th, I'll be trying to get my other 2 pairs.
What about the sizing on those?
Sizing?
What did you go with?
Dude, I went with my PK Ultra Boost size. Okay,
but you don't have them yet.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know what to expect. So I went with a size 10, and usually true to size, I'm 10.5.
I saw the homie Ted got him in already. What did he do? He's already wearing them around.
Yeah, I think Ted went true to size, and God, I can't remember if he said the insole was a little thicker, but he says the backside that kind of goes against your heel and Achilles kind of compresses a little bit. You've got a lot of support where those heel cups would normally be.
Mm-hmm.
So he says true to size was good, and he thinks it'll stretch a little bit more.
He didn't take the insole out or do anything weird. He just
not.
rocking the insole. Okay.
And he said he wore it for 3 days or so.
From what I saw, it was like a pretty thin ortholite insole.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I
I think it's really he was really just talking about kind of the support of the heel and Achilles and the lockdown, and he said it was pretty supportive and pretty locked down. He could definitely notice that.
Okay, so you didn't get 3 pairs. You didn't get the GoPro. What did you do this weekend? I mean, it's basically not mission accomplished for you. It's mission impossible here.
Well, if we didn't have to go get your shoes yesterday and watch football so heavy yesterday, we maybe could have went to Mike's camera and got a GoPro Hero 7.
Okay.
So I do plan on
Flipping
picking one of those up here in the next day or so. I did call them yesterday. They have them in stock. When I went to the Best Buys, they were only pre-order. They didn't have them in store yet, so that's where the L I took. And when I went to 2 Best Buys, and after that, I was like, "Fuck this!" All right,
I just want to peel back the curtain a little bit. When we left the show on the last podcast, you were very excited to get it. After we wrapped up the podcast, I was talking about it. I was like, "Man, what if they don't have it in stock? What if you're not able to get it? And you said, "Oh, I'll find it. I'll find it. I'll figure it out." You were off that day. You didn't have work.
Yeah.
And we're still sitting here. You have no GoPro.
All I could see was pre-orders, and I was about to do that. I don't want to fucking pre-order.
Man of your word, huh?
Man,
gonna find it. Gonna get it, no matter what.
Don't take my advice.
Cop it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And then I did also get another one. There was a restock randomly on Adidas, and I can't remember when that was. It might have been Thursday or Friday. Don't quote me on that, but I was able to pick up, just because I want to try it, the Adidas Solar Hue Glide multicolor.
Ooh, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter with those.
AKA the clown shoes, AKA the duck shoes, AKA not for mini.
The CJ's, dog, the clown joints.
Clown joints.
Yep. I didn't go for those. I'm actually pretty curious. I'm like you. I'm curious to see what they feel like. Would you go true to size in those? Or?
I did. The internet is kind of all over the place with how they feel, how they fit, and then the comfort. Most people are saying between an Ultra Boost and an NMD, so somewhere in between those two, which leaves it pretty damn wide open if you ask me. So I don't really know what to expect. I know you don't have boost all the way through the toe like an Ultra Boost or like an NMD.
Yeah.
So it does cut off. And as a matter of fact, the bottom almost reminds me more of like an Energy Boost.
Huh.
Okay, where it starts.
Yeah, totally.
Where the boost
I can see that.
where the boost starts and stops. So the midsole, that's kind of what it reminds me of, but we'll see. And I did go true to size on the Energy Boost. I have 1 pair. I have the OG pair. So
which is 10 or 10 and a half?
10 and a half.
Okay,
yes.
10 and a half.
So I stayed true to that. So we'll see what happens. But I don't
when
know.
are those? What's going to get here first, the Packers or the Hughes?
Packers will be here. Let's see. They did the shipping label on Sunday, so they'll ship out today, and I haven't got a shipment notification. So it must have been Friday when I got the Pharrells. So I haven't got a shipment notification yet on those, but Adidas is pretty fucking fast with their shipping. So they use FedEx, and I believe the Packers are USPS, which kind of sucks. So I assume if I get the shipping notification from Adidas today, I believe those to probably be here faster with FedEx. So we'll see.
Nice.
But I got 2 pairs coming in this week.
If you guys want reviews in there, man, leave them in the comments. If you want reviews on either of those pairs, those Packers 9118s, and then also the Solar Hue. Which colorway did you get again?
The multicolor.
Which is that? I don't even know what that is.
The CJs, the clown joints.
The orange ones.
Yeah, orange, yellow, green,
toe box,
fucking red. Yeah.
I thought you were just. I thought you were calling the whole. All 3 of the drop in general, I thought you were calling them clown shoes. I didn't know like there's actually 1 pair.
Yeah.
People are really calling these clown shoes?
Well, and look, it almost looks like a duck. Look at it. Like just kind of the silhouette and the colors. It looks like a duck a little bit.
Is there a resale on these?
I don't really think so.
What are they, 150 retail?
150 retail, which is a damn good price for that amount of boost, and obviously a Pharrell.
Right.
We know Pharrells are getting easier and easier and easier to acquire. We know that Boost is dying. It's not dead. It's still the most comfortable shit on the planet, if you ask me for shoe-wise.
I don't think,
the Boost hype
that's the best way to
is
put
definitely
it.
dying.
Boost hype.
The Boost hype is definitely not as hyped as it once was. But again, for the regular people, the regular Joes out there, I'm pumped on that because you can walk into a store, you can get full-size runs, you can get whatever colorways you want, whether you like them, whether you don't. So I think it's great for the general public, so I'm fine with it.
Is that going to be overall great for Adidas, though? Are they going to continue to put out consortium shoes and limited shoes? And are they going to continue to pump out really cool collabs and the cool shit that we saw before? Because it seems like they've even slowed down on that. They haven't done as good of a job with their influencers, with their cool collaborations lately. Like I haven't seen.
I think what they're doing, I think they're going, in my opinion, I think they're going back to kind of some of their historical things. So these new EQTs that I just bought, the 9118s, that's an actual OG colorway.
Yeah, with the green
that they're using. Yeah. So I think they're going to some of those OG colorways. I think they've seen Nike have success with their retros. They're obviously retro in some of their 1.0s here this holiday season. They've already retroed some of their 2.0s that were pretty prominent out there. So I think they're kind of going back to that model. But I think the secondary thing is, we've talked about it before, I think they need to kind of look at and reevaluate their pricing. I think the pricing's a little high, which we've talked about. But here's the big thing that I think Adidas needs to look at. Influencers. So Pharrell's are starting to kind of die out a little bit. Those are starting to lose some credibility. Yeezys for everyone. And we go on top of that. What is Adidas going to say or do? Are they still backing Kanye? Obviously, Kanye's kind of their money man, and Kanye's kind of the, where this whole Adidas influencer wise is built on. They're built off of Kanye, and then it just goes out from there. But with Kanye, with the Make America Great hat and the stuff that he said on Saturday Night Live.
It's a good transition. Into that. Let's go into that real quick. I kind of wanted to hit on that a little earlier, but it's a good transition into that.
What's Adidas going to do with their influencers? How far are they going to let the likes of somebody like Kanye, who obviously is a staple with Adidas and their brand Yeezy, are they going to allow him to kind of still keep going on his rants and tirades? Because some of those things are even dividing people of color, people of different races and creeds and religions, the stuff that he's saying, because or is Kanye just trolling us all? But where does Adidas, is my question to you, fall into this?
I think a lot of people have the same question, is he trolling us all? I think everyone kind of feels like, is this guy real? Did you, I wanted to talk about this a couple Thursdays ago, but we didn't, last week when Kanye came out with that whole rant on, I think it was the day we were at Bait. We went to go get those acronym Prestos on that Thursday. He dropped those 4 videos on the gram.
The Instagram lives.
Yeah, right? We had already wrapped up that podcast, and then I wanted to talk about it at the beginning of the next week, but we ended up bumping it because, like I said, we had issues last week, or we had busy corporate meetings and a bunch of shit going on.
Sure.
Did you saw that on Instagram?
Yeah, he called out the likes of Nick Cannon. He called the likes of Drake. He called a few people out, right? With his tirades about sleeping or feelings with Miss Kim, his wife.
The funniest part was, hold up, I need to let this train go by.
Yeah, right. Let the train go by. Stops it. Yeah.
Did you see the Nick Cannon response? He came back and just kind of said, "Hey, first and foremost, blah 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 blah," and. It was really funny because he kind of he said, no disrespect to Kanye. Basically, he just told him, no disrespect. I don't have, any problem with you or your wife, or, it wasn't meant to be disrespectful. Right. But at the end of the day, I'm still a man. You're not going to tell me what to say.
Yeah, for sure.
And if someone asks me a question, I'm going to answer it to the best of my ability, is essentially what he said. I mean, I don't have the exact quote, or I don't remember exactly what how it was worded, but essentially that's what he said on the Instagram the other day. And then he had a little, I don't know if it was a train or a little bus, but he's like, hold up, I'm gonna let this bus go by, as Kanye would say.
Then trolled him a little bit.
Like there actually was like a little bus or train going by, so it was pretty funny. I don't know if it didn't look like he did it on purpose, but it was just, the whole thing was just pretty funny to me. And so basically he just stood up for himself and said what he had to say. Do I think Kanye, what was your question? Is Kanye dragging down Adidas, or where does he sit with Adidas?
Yeah, where does Adidas sit with Kanye? Vice versa, however way you want to spin it. Is Adidas going to continue to have his back, or is Adidas as a company going to draw a line in the sand, saying, "Hey, this is Kanye's shit, this is our shit"? What do you think?
I don't think so. I think it's they may do that.
Okay.
They may, at the most. I think that's the most they do. I don't think they tell Kanye anything. I don't think they separate ties. I don't think they disown him. I don't think they do anything like that. I think when Kanye signed his deal with Adidas, this had to have been on the table. This had to have been part of the agreement that, hey, I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to do what I want. You guys aren't going to stop me. You guys aren't going to try to hold me back. And this includes not only from a music standpoint or a personality standpoint or how I live my life, but also from a design standpoint. I'm going to do what I want to design. And I think Adidas was just so happy to have him that they were like, oh, yes, sir, you could do whatever you want. No problem. They're on their fucking knees at that point. Because look, they were in the not in the gutter, but they were falling, dude. Before Ye signed to him, they were struggling. Before Ye signed, before Boost, all that stuff.
Zero market share. Not zero market share, but
struggling on the struggle bus. So I think they're still steadfast on that position. That's what they agreed when they signed Kanye. They agreed to let him do what he wants to do, and I think they're going to hold to that. I don't think there's any change. So that's kind of where I see the situation going.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously he is, he's making headlines, kind of like what we talked about with J.R. Smith and this I call him J.R. Swish, J.R. Smith from the local side of Denver back in the day. But J.R. Smith with the Supreme box logo tattoo, it's kind of similar in the way of Kanye making headlines, out in the public, saying dumb shit, saying crazy stuff. Like he even said something the other day. He tweeted something about like Yeezy being a non-profit, like he says, Yeezy is for a purpose, non-profit, arm branch of Apple. We unofficially work for Steve, Johnny, Tim, and Lorraine. These 4 individuals are kind of the big dogs at Apple.
Yeah.
And he says everything we do at Yeezy is to be an arm branch of what our hero Steve Jobs has created with love. He's just damn crazy, man. His comparisons, what he's comparing things to, comparing Yeezy to, dropping like Yeezy and dropping big names like Apple. I don't understand really what's going on, and I don't.
Is he still in the sunken? Is he still in the sunken place? What do you think of that? He said he was out. He said he was out of the sunken place.
That fool is going to start his own cult here soon, and it's going to get really weird, man. If if things don't lighten up a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm feeling like, remember the David Koresh, that religious leader that started the cult in Waco, Texas, and had all his believers, and then they ended up like burning the whole thing down and committing suicide together or whatever.
You think he's going that direction?
No, not necessarily. But I mean, there things that come out of Kanye's mouth is very cult-esque. Yeah. I feel like, not that it's going to go that far, but I think of those comparisons because I was an older kid during that time at Waco, Texas, when David Koresh and his followers came up. But a lot of people love Kanye. He's a huge influencer, and he could probably run a cult if he wanted to and have these followers do whatever he says and whatever he wants. I just how far is it going to go, man? It's confusing. It's intense. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't like it to begin with. I mean, you and I we don't really talk politics. I don't really do that with any of my friends. I mean, it's just not something that I'm into. I don't want to talk a ton of politics on the show. It's just not something that interests me. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's something that, I try to filter out the things that bring a lot of negativity, whether that's something simple like breaking bones, watching blood gushing out of I don't like that shit. To me, it puts a negative thing in my mind, and I like my mind to be a happy place. Yeah. I function best in a creative, happy environment. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And so that's what's best for me and my creativity and my overall happiness. So I disconnect myself from politics, a bunch of negative shit on the internet, trolling, all that stuff. I don't really get involved much in that. I don't get a ton of trolling. I get some here and there, but I choose to just kind of look the other way, or I'll go back and forth with some fools once in a while. Just, I'm sitting there getting an oil change, like whatever, you know what I mean? Like, sure. But I'm not going to go out of my way and stall up my day to do that. Same way I'm not going to go out of my way and stall up my day to follow politics or put too much stock into what Kanye is saying or making America great again or supporting Trump. I don't care. You know what I mean? I just don't care enough. That's the bottom line. Mm-hmm. I do think he's doing some weird things. I do think he has kind of a little bit of a weird agenda. And for me, what it comes down to is music. I always put the music first.
Yeah.
For me, I'm able to separate music and someone's personality. Some people aren't. I know motherfuckers. I have friends that will not listen to an R. Kelly record ever again because they don't like what R. Kelly stands for. Yeah. They don't like who the person is. They don't like what he's been.
Done.
Yeah, exactly. Me, am I running out of the room when an R. Kelly record comes on? Mm-hmm. No. But do I throw on an R. Kelly record? Probably not. No. It's just not what I listen to. Yeah. So for me, it's kind of like I don't support him. I don't. It's not like I run away from him either. It kind of just is what it is. Like
when an R. Kelly song comes on, you're not going to negatively go to the connotation that he's been surrounded with.
I just kind of let the law handle the law and the judges handle the judge. Like, what is me turning off the record? You know what I mean? Like, I don't have time to try to consume myself that much in someone else's life or what's going on. It's just too negative for me.
And if you're worried about other people, you're losing anyways.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't matter what you do. So the other thing about Kanye is, being formerly known as Kanye West, I am now Ye.
Oh,
right? Did you see that?
So, I didn't see that. I saw he changed it on Twitter. I didn't know that.
Yeah, a little simple name change.
I didn't know that.
That's different as well. And then the other thing is, you mentioned it earlier, music. Where's the new Yandhi album? Supposed to be this past Saturday, correct?
Yep, Saturday.
He announced.
Did he say it was dropping after SNL, or did he just say Saturday?
I think he just said Saturday, but I think that's what we all alluded to. Like, cool, after Saturday Night Live, we heard his tirade at the end of the show that he went on. And then, come 1 o'clock, midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, we're still waiting. No Yandhi album still.
Did you watch any of the SNL performance?
I didn't really watch. I mean, obviously, I know of the performance. I didn't watch anything live. I didn't do any of that. But obviously, I did see him in Little Pump with dressed as it was Perrier water,
Perrier and Fiji. I think.
Fiji, yeah. So
I was watching it live. I thought it was awful. I thought the whole thing was awful.
I didn't find it.
No, dude, I didn't find it amusing. I didn't find it funny. I found it almost embarrassing.
Yeah.
For what I know Kanye as, for what I saw. I mean, you're talking to a guy that saw this man in 2003 at the Fillmore here in Denver. If you're not familiar with the Fillmore in Denver, it holds about 5,000 people. Capacity is usually about between 3,000 and 5,000 somewhere. It was sold out that night. I don't know. It might have been maxed out at 5Gs. It might have been less. I don't know. But either way, that's a small crowd for Kanye. Whether it's 3,000 or 5,000, that's fucking tiny.
Yeah.
I saw this man wearing a pink polo with the Louis Vuitton backpack on, with a simple DJ and John Legend on the keys. John Legend was sitting on one side of the stage. That's the first time I had ever heard of John Legend. It's the first time I had ever seen him. Kanye kind of found John Legend and really put him on. He was the piano man for Kanye's live shows. He ended up playing on records on, I don't know if he played on anything on College Dropout, but he definitely played on some stuff for Late Registration, Graduation. And he really built up Kanye to, or he really helped Kanye get to where he was. I mean, he added a great element. He added a great voice to the live show.
Great voice.
And that's what I remember from Kanye, man. I remember that show. Then I remember seeing him when he put out Late Registration at the Wells Fargo Theater, which is a little bit of a step up. Then he was at Pepsi Center, which is our arena here where I saw Monday Night Raw, where the Nuggets play, all that stuff. I saw him for Graduation at Pepsi Center. That's the last time I saw Kanye live, but I've seen him 3 times. And I saw him in the very fucking beginning, dude, at Fillmore when he was nothing. Right. Dilated Peoples was opening up for Kanye. It was just them two. And he had just did the song with them, the song he did with with Dilated Peoples, the I can't live my I can't live my that whole joint. So they just came out with that, and then they had just dropped that, so they performed that together. It was just, I'm not saying people have to stay the same, and I'm not stuck in this false reality where no one's gonna change, but fuck, dude, he is so far from what I initially saw of him. And like I said, I mean, if he was doing the same level of music, if he was still putting out music that I enjoyed and he was being this weirdo, I wouldn't care as much. But the fact that he's doing this weird shit and the music is suffering, it's just so fucking bad. The songs are bad. The performances are bad. The guy's forgetting lyrics on stage. He's mumbling to the point where when he was performing on Saturday night, I didn't know if he was mumbling on purpose or he was mumbling just to fill space because he forgot lyrics.
I think you even tweeted that out. You're like, hey, did this guy forget lyrics?
Dude, I was fucking annoyed. I was like, what am I getting here, man? And this is a guy that I'm not even going to say his past few projects have all been trash because I loved The Life of Pablo. I wasn't a fan of the last album that came out. I can't even tell you the name. That's how bad that shit is for me.
Right.
What was that called?
Were you a fan of Yeezus?
No. Didn't like Yeezus. Yep, Yeezus was before. Didn't like that. I did like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I didn't like every song, but I liked quite a bit of it. I also liked 808s and Heartbreaks. I liked quite a bit of it.
Right.
And that was totally different. That was all auto-tuned singing. That was completely off the beaten path at that time. But I thought
the newest one was Wyoming, wasn't it?
I think the
newest.
Was it called Wyoming?
Was it called Wyoming?
Or the album cover was Wyoming?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know what it was called.
It was called Wyoming, I think. But well, so
which
this
is
brings
weird
me
as
back.
fuck. No wonder I don't remember the name.
So if I remember correctly, you have this performance, right, that was just shitty and weird, right? But if you look back to his 2010 performance, now if you remember, Clips, a.k.a. Pusha T, right, actually joined him on that 2010, and I believe it was the song Power, where he's using the keys, doing
Yeah.
the weird keys or whatever.
Yep.
And he had this huge elaborate performance of the dancers in like cream white. Do you remember that? Maybe
No. When
Okay.
was this?
This was 2010,
I don't
believe.
remember that.
And I think, Breaking Bad, I'm a huge fan of that show, right? Bryan Cranston, I think, hosted 2010. Kanye did Power with Pusha T.
The album was just called Yay. It wasn't called Wyoming.
Okay, gotcha.
I was going to say, what the fuck? I know the picture was Wyoming. It was all
yeah, for
weird,
sure.
you know?
I remember the Wyoming merch and all
I
that
like
shit.
being bipolar. It's awesome or whatever, yeah.
So
Okay, anyway, sorry.
So that performance was at that time fucking really weird too. People were like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
But the music was still
Music
there.
was great.
The content was still great. So it didn't take away from them dressing up in these weird suits or these weird water bottles, mumbling this whole mumble rap thing. I fucking hate it. But Kanye's always been judged, and he always will continue to be. But at that time, that was a whole different type of judgment. Like,
Yeah.
what is this elaborate scene at SNL? This is crazy. But the music was still.
We're just in such a fucking weird time, dude, because you have all this mumble rap and all this shit coming up and people on both sides of the fence, the young generation saying this is the future, fucking
Right.
you old heads need to deal with it. The old heads pushing back saying we're not going to fucking deal with it. This is shit. This isn't real hip hop. This isn't music. You guys are disrespecting hip hop. And a lot of these kids saying, I don't give a fuck about hip hop. That's not why I'm here. It's not why I do this. Fuck hip hop. Fuck the old heads. And they're kind of not giving credit or paying homage to any of the old heads.
Right.
So the old heads take offense. Then you got guys like Eminem really standing up for that generation saying, fuck you. You're going to have to pry the mic from my hands type shit.
Right.
I'm here. And I would love for Kanye to be standing side by side with M and just standing up for that. And instead he's doing this weird shit where he's like in this weird middle ground.
Yeah.
Like he's partnering with the young generation and working with them, but then he's still old. He's still Kanye. He's still old and doing old political bullshit. But it's just a weird fucking time.
It's a weird time for Kanye. I think it's a weird time for all of us.
I don't understand.
It's a
It's
weird
hard to
time.
comprehend it.
Yeah, it's a weird time for hip hop, and I did see some supposed tracks that are going to be on his new Yandhi album, if that's what we're calling it. But he supposed obviously Little Pump. We already know
Little Pump.
Little Pump.
Yep.
And then you have Tekashi 6ix9ine supposedly on this new album. So what the fuck is that going to look like?
Right.
You know? So he's trying to incorporate himself with new style, and that's good because all artists have to evolve, and bless his heart for that. But it's a confusing time. It really is.
And it's maddening to me because it makes me feel like all of a sudden I'm the old guy in the room and I'm fucking, and I'm the guy that's like talking out of both sides of my mouth saying, well, what the fuck? Why is he partnering with the young generation, putting out this whack fucking music and blah, 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 blah. But then on the other side, it's like you're always like, why don't these old artists, partner with the new generation and continue to keep their sound young and continue to, you hear people say that too. And it's like, they're just continuing to do the same old music. Kanye is not doing that. He's trying to progress. He's trying to put out new music. So you don't want to, like I said, be speaking out both sides of your mouth. But the problem is the new music he's putting out just isn't good. Like if he was working with younger talent and refining his sound and changing his sound into something new, and it was good, I would have no problem. I wouldn't give a fuck what he was doing. If it was good music, it's good music to me. Sure. And that's why I've left Kanye, because the label, for Christ's sakes, was called Good Music. And it was continually always putting out good music from him, from his artists. Right. And then we're getting this now. Yep.
No, I'd agree.
Nothing really to say on there, man. Let's go ahead and wrap up the podcast. We'll kind of leave it there. There's no, continual bashing of Kanye or anything we need to do here. It's just, I don't think either of us are bashing. I think we're just kind of confused.
Yeah. I think the world is confused, and I think a lot of, that whole culture, the black culture, Swiss Beats even came out the other day and says, man, Kanye, what the fuck, man? Like, how are you going to support this Donald Trump? And again, not to get in politics, but a lot of people are starting to call Kanye out. Even some of people he's worked with in the past, other musicians now. Like, dude, what are you doing, dog? So I think we're all a little confused.
Speaking of Swiss Beats, one other kind of music note: 3 albums did drop last Friday. Huge Friday for hip hop. You had Lil Wayne, you had Kevin Gates, you had Logic. Did you spin any of those through? Did you listen to any of them?
I listened to a couple tracks from Logic just because he happened to pop up on a Spotify playlist that I put on. But I meant to, but I'm over Lil Wayne. I think he's still a great artist. I think he deserves all the credit he's ever got for sure. I'm just not a big fan, so I haven't spun it, but I will eventually.
Have you seen the Uproar challenge that's going on with Lil Wayne? It's a song on Wayne's album Uproar, produced by Swiss Beats. Okay. That's why this kind of reminded me of that. And there's a challenge going on. Basically, what I've seen is a lot of people are sitting in a car initially. They hop out of the car and they start dancing. Okay. Just crazy. It's nothing like Kiki. It's totally. It's oh man, if you haven't heard the track, I'd play it for you, but I want to get clipped for copyright. But
sure.
We can play it after the podcast. It's called Uproar on the album. It's got a really bouncy Swiss Beats type vibe,
Sure.
Track is pretty dope. I think the way Wayne wrote to it is dope. I did spin all 3 albums through just one time. I need to go back and listen to them more in depth. But my consensus, what I came to, there's some good songs on each project. None of them are a must listen. None of them are going to live in infamy and be legendary. None of them are, I don't think any of them are really complete projects. I think there's some nice songs on each one. I think there's some good things, but I don't think it's one that I will continually just keep on repeat or spin through. I don't think it's as good as Kamikaze that M just dropped. I don't think any of them are on that level. That album, I loved every song, maybe except for a couple. You know what I mean? There was only like maybe 2 songs I wasn't really feeling that I'd kind of skip on that Kamikaze album. These are multiple. Plus Wayne, I mean, there's 23 fucking songs on that album, dude.
Yeah.
And obviously he's had a lot pent up. He's had, he's been off on the shelf for a while with the whole baby and situation, Cash Money. Yeah, he's had issues there. So leave your comments below. What did you guys think of the albums? That's just what I thought spinning them through the one time that I did. Is I felt like there was some cool songs, but there was nothing that really jumped out at me as far as the whole project goes. And man, this is an incredible project itself. So that's kind of where I sit on that. Let's wrap up with the Rocks and Broncos Chiefs tonight, man. Who you got? Who are you taking? Obviously, the people know who won as they're listening to this podcast, but just who are you taking in each game? Rockies today against the Dodgers in the tiebreaker, and then Monday Night Football.
I like like you said, I like the pitching, being 2-0 with the Dodgers. I like the pitching setup, so I'm happy about that. So as long as Story can keep up with his great bat, I'm trying to think.
David Dahl.
Yeah, David Dahl.
Dude, home runs in 6 out of the last 7. Pretty fucking good.
Blackman had the walk-off a while back.
Let's be real. I mean, they were last 2 series, they were playing the Nationals and the Phillies, who were both out of it. So them winning 9 in a row, or where they go 8-1 or 9-1 in the last 10 games, it's impressive, but it's, Let's hold back. It's not like you were facing Max Scherzer or one of the who was rumored to pitch on Sunday, didn't end up pitching. But
you know who's not impressive?
Who's that?
John Gray.
Oh God,
that guy, the most inconsistent pitcher, man, that we've had in a while. I just can't get on the John Gray train, man.
So you got the Rocks, you got the Dodgers.
So I would say, man, I'm hoping the Rocks can pull this out.
Or who do you got, Dallas? Damn it.
I think the Dodgers are going to pull it out.
Oh,
I do.
Fuck.
I think the Dodgers are going to pull it out. But man, this would be the first time in Rockies history, right, that we won the division.
Yes, they've never won the division.
That would be so historic and so awesome. But I think the Dodgers, I just think they're so good, all around team, from their pitching to their batting. Their coaching staff is sick. I'm going for the Rockies, but I think the Dodgers may end up pulling it out. And then I think we're going to have to work our ass off in the wild card, and we're going to be the underdogs, and hopefully we'll make some noise.
I'm kind of surprised by this line. I thought it would be maybe minus 130.
What do you see?
The Dodgers are minus 170 in this game, favorites.
Okay.
So you'd have to put up $170 to win 100 on the Dodgers. If you go with Marquez and the Rockies, they're plus 160. So you put up 100, you win 160. According to Vegas, Vegas has the Dodgers as a pretty good favorite here. It's going to be Buehler against Marquez. I'm going to go with the Rocks, man. I think the Rocks get it done, win their first division title. I love Marquez pitching for us.
Yep.
Here's my question to you. If we get into some trouble, Marquez struggles early, gives up some runs early, do you pull him out and you start burning through the rest of your bullpen? Because regardless, you still have to go into a wild card game. Even if you lose this game, you're not out of the playoffs. You're still in the wild card.
Yeah.
So you got to go to another one-game series. You know how the wild card works in the MLB, which is fucking stupid.
Which is crazy
it's so
aggressive.
Stupid. It's the dumbest thing ever in sports. I don't mean to go on a rant here at the end of the show, but if you're going to have The whole season is based off of series. Every game is a fucking series. You have 2, 3, 4 game series throughout the whole season. And then when you get to the wild card, all of a sudden it's one game. Yeah. It's sudden death. Why not just have at least a little 3-gamer? Yeah, a best of 3. Yeah. These wild card series in the MLB, it's maddening. It's like if you play the whole NFL season and you play the games the way they play, and then all of a sudden you get to the Super Bowl and there's no field goals allowed.
Right.
You just take away an element of the game.
Totally.
It's like, why are you changing shit up here just because you get to the playoffs?
Yeah.
Like, why not keep it a series? That doesn't make any sense to me. I hate that the MLB does that. But regardless, we're either winning today, winning the division, and going into a real playoff series, or we're going into the one game wild card.
Yeah, the one
after this one game.
Yeah, so, which is what happened to us last year, correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
we got beat in the wild card game.
Yeah, that's hard.
One and
done. Here's the deal with Marquez. I think he's in 5 innings. I think if he starts fucking up and things get a little out of hand, I think you pull him. But I think you got to keep him in 5 innings.
It's tough for the Rockies because it's not a must-win to get in the playoffs. You're in already, so it's tough. If Marquez starts getting shelled and starts getting beat up, you just leave him in there, and it's like, it is what it is.
Bullpen, though.
I agree. I think you just leave Marquez in there. If he struggles early, gives up 5 or 6 runs, all of a sudden you're in a fucking hole. You just battle through it.
Yeah.
You just get through it. You don't pull him out and start burning through your other pitchers. This is not the playoffs. Right.
Because you also got to think
about
the
division, but it's not playoffs.
But you also got to think about in the future too, making future moves. Like you pull him out that quick, like what does that do for his confidence? Because we need him.
Right.
I would say over any other our pitchers, that's for sure. So pulling him too early, what does that do to his confidence in the future? Because we're going to the playoffs regardless.
Here's another thing I would say, Nolan Arenado, you better come to play tonight, bro.
Yeah.
You fucking talked all this shit earlier in June saying, I want to be on a team that plays meaningful games. Yep. I don't know if I want to be here in Colorado next year. I want to be on a team that's playing in the postseason. This is what the fuck you wanted. You wanted to play in meaningful games. You stood there and beat your chest and say you're the guy. You want to play in pressure situations. The pressure's on, bro. I better see something out of you. I better see some good defensive plays. I better see some jacks. I better see something out of you, Nolan, or I'm going to be disappointed because he's been cold the past month and a half, maybe. Yeah. He's been pretty fucking cold. He just started heating it up here in the past couple weeks, but he was cold. Yeah. So I better see him.
Story, right? Story's most Mr. Consistent, right? Would you call him the most consistent?
Him and Dahl. Lately. Dahl's been fucking.
Yeah.
He's been clutch.
And then, man, I remember God, it was 2.5 months ago. Desmond was shitting the bed.
Yep.
Just straight up shitting the bed, and he's kind of come around as well. Not as good as some of them, but Desmond even has started to kind of do some good things the last month and a half. So.
Good shit. Cool, man. I think.
Wait, Chiefs and Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I mean Chiefs and Broncos.
My bad. I went long on that.
Who do you got?
Chiefs and Broncos. God, I'm going to go with the Chiefs, man. I hate going against the Broncos, but I don't think they have enough. I think this is going to be a really good test for our offense, though. Our offense has been struggling. They've kind of been sputtering a little bit. You struggled against the Seahawks in week 1. Not a great defense as we see there. I think, what do they want? Did they win yesterday? I don't even know if they won.
They did. They won by a field goal.
They're 2-2.
Janikowski.
That's right. Okay, that's right. Yeah, 2-2. There, they struggled against the Raiders defense, who we all saw yesterday. Yeah. Not good. Barely got the dub over the Browns. Helped me out. Got me a push, so I didn't lose my second game there. But I just don't think the Broncos have enough firepower, man, on offense. Even though the Chiefs is a terrible defense. They're giving up 31 points a game.
Yeah.
But I still just don't think they have enough to keep up with Pat Mahomes.
That's exactly right. I think they're Pat Mahomes and that offense right now is clicking on all cylinders, and I love Andy Reid's camera one down. All right. And I love Andy Reid's I think you and I were talking about it yesterday. It wasn't on the podcast. You and I were talking about it for schemes for being like an older coach, but still allowing this new style of coaching like Sean McVay and all these young guys.
Love it.
Dude, Andy Reid is still in there just as much as he was when he was fucking coach of Philadelphia with McNabb and all those guys, right?
Yep.
He's still in there. And I think this offensive scheme that he has going right now with Mahomes and that fucking arm that he has is
It's not only Pat
awesome.
Mahomes. I mean, look at the weapons he has.
I know.
You know, you
Well,
put,
that's what I'm saying.
you put
He's got-
anyone in that position, it's an instant
He's got
upgrade.
this arm, and he's got mobility. He's got the flexibility. He's young, and he's got a fucking cannon of an arm.
Right.
that guy
Plus,
alone,
Andy Reid, the plays Andy Reid's calling and the scheme he's developed
Yeah.
is specifically for a guy like Pat Mahomes.
You got it.
He's done a great job of keeping that guy in a system that makes him successful.
That's why they got rid of a great quarterback in Alex Smith.
Yep.
He was a great quarterback.
He took him as far as he could go. I mean, they gave him multiple shots, multiple playoff opportunities. He couldn't win the big game. And he took him. I think Andy Reid realized, hey, this is as far as I'm going to be able to go with this guy. He's good. He's a nice talent, but he's not elite.
Yeah, so I think the Kansas City Chiefs, too much offensive power. There is no way that the Broncos can keep up with that offensively.
I don't think we get blown. Do you think we get blown out?
I don't know. I don't know about a blowout, but there is no way that the Broncos offense can keep up with Pat Mahomes and their offense.
I'm not sold on the Broncos at all this year. Obviously, I mean, I'm not sold on them winning more than.
We even
7
talked about
games.
it. We talked about them at being one of the worst 2-0 teams.
Yeah,
at that time, and then Baltimore, of course, they went in there and showed the Broncos' true colors and who they really are. And we've got some opportunities.
This is going to prove it. If the Broncos keep it close, they keep it tight, and they lose a 34-31 game.
Oh, I'd love that.
Even
though we take the L, if we did, I would love that.
Yeah,
because I would be. We're building on something. We're getting better.
But if they go in and just get housed, like a lot of people think that's going to happen, and Pat Mahomes comes in, just lights them up, and you get beat 34-17, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you're in some real trouble there.
Yep. No, I agree.
So that's what we're looking at. Hopefully you guys enjoy the games, man. A huge Colorado sports day for us here. So I know not everyone here is in Colorado, so you guys don't care generally about Colorado sports a ton, but this is our environment, man. This is what we live in. This is what we live for. It's Rocktober.
Right.
You got the Broncos on Monday night tonight. Really, really excited.
I'm fucking calling in sick, dog. Fuck
you?
this shit.
You're done?
I'm done. You calling sick with me?
I can't.
Want to go to Blackhawk?
And I can't.
Oh, God, man.
I got stuff to do. I got commitments. I'm a man that honors my commitments. No, I'm just kidding. But thanks to JJ for not honoring his commitments. Had a dentist appointment.
Dentist, what's up?
I guess he was committed to the dentist, so that's what matters.
Dentist the menace.
Good one.
Nice.
All right, fools. We'll see you on Friday.